Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today, do we have some cringe for you all. Look at the smugness combined with the cringiness. You guys, this is the ultimate compilation of cringy moments with the pair. You guys, I had fun putting this one together. Okay, so we are going to go through all kinds of moments on this one, including my newly discovered and favorite one. I'm going to kick it off with the one where they get confused on who the applause is for at Royal Albert Hall. You guys responded so well to that one, saying it's one of your favorites too, so definitely pay attention to that. We got cringe from the New York trip, cringe from the supposed person that got down on a knee and thanked Meghan for her service. What service? We don't know. Use your imagination. We got cringe from Won't Let Go of Harry's Hand. We got cringe at the USO. Cringe at Serena's tennis match. So much cringe. Cringe at a polo match. You name it, we're cringing it up. So definitely watch this one. Let it run. I hope you enjoy it at almost 3 hours of cringe. I just appreciate you all so much. You Drunk Goose Club, honk honk to you all. Thanks so much for being here. Let's watch some cringe. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps today. Ooh, we got some cringe to get into. I'm so excited about this one, you guys. Oh, so much to talk about. Okay, I'm going to tell you how these two embarrassed themselves so hysterically funny and so bad, and it's going to be great. And I can't wait to go over it with you. And then we're going to go into what happened with this. One of my all-time favorite pictures, maybe my all-time favorite picture. And I found out the scoop on what's going on. Okay, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I'll tell you something funny I did learn. You guys, I'm excited about this one. All in the same night, all this happened. First, I want to give a shout out to St. Meghan Markle. I love this group so much. They came up with this and made me aware of this video. I'm very excited to watch it with you and go over it with you. And it's courtesy of The Sun. I'm able to use it because of fair use. So we'll be watching it, recapping it, slowing it down, zooming it in. So much to talk about. Okay, let me start by giving you an overview of what this event was. So Mountbatten Festival of Music, from what I could tell, seems to be a yearly event, and it features the massed bands of Her Majesty's Royal Marines. And in 2020, it was March 7th, 2020, that Hank and Skank went to this event. Okay. It was taking place over 2 nights at the Royal Albert Hall. Again, they were on their way out the door. As this was March 2020, they were headed to Canada. I'm using quotes on that one because we know where they were headed. Okay. The purpose of these concerts is to display the outstanding versatility of some of the world's finest military musicians. They're given the West End treatment with spectacular lighting effects. The festival sees the Royal Marines showcase their incredible musicianship and pageantry and features a wide range of musical styles, including music from the big screen and superb solo items, as well as traditional marches and overtures that have proved such a hit with audiences over the years. That's read directly off of the Facebook post from this actual event, again, March 7th, 2020. You're going to dive right into this video. I'm very excited about this. It should be pointed out in my research that people said it was a faux pas that she wore red. That it distracts from the military uniform. So she was not supposed to be wearing this color, but I take that with a grain of salt. She loves to do shit like that, so that doesn't shock me in the least, especially if you're not supposed to wear this color, she's going to wear that color, right? Think Catherine's christening, right? When she wasn't supposed to wear olive, and she wore olive, that kind of thing. So here we are with the bright red dress. Anywho, so at this event, they arrive late. They walk in. You can clearly see in the video they're walking in after everybody else has already been there. They arrive to take their seats. So what they don't realize is that, again, they've arrived late. They probably know that, but they don't realize that people are applauding the bands. People are applauding the musicians on stage and the talent there. Not these two. These two walk in late and think everybody's cheering for them. So I want you to keep that in your head as you watch this video because we are going to break it down. Just keep that in your mind. This applause is not for them. Here we go. Oh my God, I'm cringing so hard. Okay, let's watch this again. Okay, so they walk in late, right? And people are turning because they're the assholes walking in late. They're already applauding. It is not for them. It is for the band. It is for the talent on the stage, not these assholes, these no talent ass clowns. It is for the people on the stage. But of course, they think it's about them. Look at the people's faces around them. If you have any doubt, look at the lady in the glasses to the left of Harry and behind Meghan. Those two ladies, they know what's going on. They even look to their spouses like, what the hell is with these people? They're so confused. They think everybody is applauding for them. It's not. Even the woman to the left is whispering, see, to her husband, saying they think it's about them. They're assholes. They're making it about them. It's not. It's about the talented musicians on stage. Isn't that hilarious? Oh my God. I will never not find this funny. Okay, last time. So look, I zoomed in and I moved it over more to the left. Watch the lady in the far left top corner of your screen. She's realizing what's happening, right? So is the lady in the glasses. That these assholes walked in late, think it's about them when they're all applauding the band. They're already applauding when they walked in. Do they think everybody's psychic? But look at the lady to the left. She's about to whisper it to her husband what happened because she realizes, look at her face. She realizes what's going on. It's hilarious that they think it's about them. So of course they do, right? Of course they do. They walk in, everything's about them. Dum-dums are waving and pretending to be modest about it. Like, oh, I can't believe they're applauding for us. It's not for you, you assholes. Anyway, oh God, I could watch this a million times. It's so much fun. Okay, from one cringe to another, let's talk this. Oh, you guys, I love this picture so much. Okay, I wish I could tell you exactly what was going on in this picture. I cannot for sure tell you what's going on. I can tell you what I read and what my opinion is of what's going on in this picture. Oh, it's too good. Okay, so allegedly, they realized, no, let me try that again. He doesn't realize anything. She realized what happened and that the ovation was not for them and that they look like the assholes that we know they are, right? So she's mad. And so then they take a further faux pas, they take a further misstep and think that they're behind blacked out windows. They're not. So this is her, again, this is all alleged. We don't know what was going on in the car, but from what I could tell, from what my research said, was she may have been having a severe reaction to the lack of standing ovation and realizing what they did. And again, with another misstep, thinks they're behind blacked out glass and is reacting to it right now. I don't know. Part of me I do think that that's probably what happened, but then I think, no, they don't have that much self-awareness. She's just, I don't know, mad because it's a Tuesday or whatever. Like, she's just mad because she's mad, and he's just sulky because that's what he does. Now he's got a MO where he sits in the back of a car and sulks. See the near catastrophic car chase. He sits in the back of the car and sulks. That's what he does. So it could just be that, but I like to think that she realized what asses they look like, and yeah. And then this happened. Oh, God. It's the gift that keeps on giving, right? You guys asked that I pull up the Serena Williams US Open, her mom ignoring Meghan cringe video. So we are going to get into that. You guys, when I was researching this, I found out a bunch of funny things that happened this day. So we're going to talk about all of it because it sounds like Meghan was just striking out everywhere. I'm not good at sports analogies. but he's striking out everywhere, and it's going to be a fun cringe train wreck to watch. So let's get into it. All right, so let me set the stage for you. This was the U.S. Open. It was held in late August and early September of 2019. Now, just a reminder, Archie was born in May of 2019. I'm not going there. I don't care if she went. He was 3 months old, whatever. Take that how you will. I only bring it up because I do remember them making a big deal about it at the time, and it has been brought up in some of the books that she flew over just to watch Serena play in the U.S. Open when Archie was pretty young. Okay, so I Googled to find the video, and we will watch the video. We're going to break it down, don't you worry. But I found out some interesting information even leading up to the awkwardness in the video. So Meghan is making her grand entrance here, right? She sits next to Serena's mom. Her name is Oracene Price. That is her to the left. And Meghan wasted no chance to take this photo opportunity. We're going to see it here. Lots of dramatic faces, making it all about her. Lots of smug and look at me. And all the faces that she's known for, right? Even dramatic faces like this one. I find it very telling that Serena's mother is watching intensely her daughter play, and it's Meghan that's being dramatic. She's being the drama queen here. Of course she is, right? She has that weird sixth sense of where the camera is at all times. She's always looking, look at me. You know, we've talked about it. Okay, when researching this, I fell down a rabbit hole learning about this. Did Serena Williams' coach say Meghan Markle was a jinx? I was like, what is this? What are they talking about? You guys, sure enough, they are calling Meghan Markle a jinx. And again, I don't follow this stuff, so I started learning about it. And if you Google it, it's a thing. So apparently her coach is reported to have said that Meghan Markle's a jinx. She's lost. She's been to, at the time, she had been to the U.S. Open 2019, which Serena lost. She had been to Wimbledon 2 times that Serena lost. And so fans were calling her out and calling her a jinx. And I don't know, this just struck me so funny. You know that pissed Meghan Markle right off. I'm sure she threw out the ist words that she loves, but I just find it really funny that at that time, that was 3 of the, tennis matches she had been to, and Serena, like this amazing world-renowned tennis player, had lost the ones that Meghan had been to. So yeah, they're calling her a jinx. Okay, so the reason that this video was so requested is because Jay and I have been covering cringe moments with Meghan. We did the USO cringe, the polo match cringe where she was trying to kiss all his teammates. Oh my God, go back and watch those of you. I just shudder every time I talk about that. Oh, it's so cringy. And then this one was recommended, and I even said in some of the comments like, oh God, I don't even know about this one. I need to look into it. You guys, I found the video. Shall we take a look? I would say allow yourself plenty of wiggle room because you're gonna shudder watching this. All right, so here's the video, and I'm gonna play it back, but here's just the original video. There is no sound to it. She's trying to talk to Serena's mom. It's like she knows the camera's on her. She's trying to talk to her, and Serena's mom is watching the game as you would. Meghan couldn't care less. She's talking to herself. She's doing that thing where she kind of chuckles to herself to make it seem like she's part of the conversation. It's so awkward. All I can think of, too, with the hand gestures is remember Nicole Kidman was caught on camera doing that weird hand clap thing. That's what seems to be happening here. So the person who posted this video slowed it down so we could see it up close. Again, trying to talk to Serena's mom or scene. And I mean, the mom's trying to watch her daughter play. Get a clue, Meghan. Oh, it's just so cringy. So yeah, Meghan's just in her own little world. Here we go. It's slowed down again. So she's just in her own little world. She's trying to make it all about her. And again, I feel like she knows the cameras are on her. So look how close I am with Serena's mom, And when you really look at it, Serena's mom is paying attention to her daughter as she should be. And Meghan's the one just like making it about herself. Look at my weird hand claps. Look at my laughing. It's so funny. I'm part of this. I'm part of the inside joke. It reminds me of like Michael Scott, he tried to be part of an inside joke and he just wasn't. And it left you feeling so cringy and awkward. That's kind of what I feel like we're looking at here. Oh, I'm shaking my shoulders. Ugh, it's so cringy. Let her watch her daughter. All right, so we've seen in the same event the weird faces she's making, the weird attempts to, I don't know, befriend Serena's mom and to be part of the group. We've seen she was referred to as a jinx. Now let's see, how do I say this? Let's feast our eyes on something else very cringy. Now, I remember hearing about this at the time, and listen, I will fault her for a number of things. What she deserves to be faulted for, I don't know if she need. I don't know about this one. I'm just going to present it to you. You make up your own mind on what's going on here, but it could be taken a certain way that is very cringe. Let's take a look. All right. I had heard reports, rumors, whatever you want to call them, that at this event she was very flirty with Serena's husband, Alexis. Now, when I see this picture, I don't get I just think, okay, one, look at me. I'm in the camera. I'm hugging the superstar's husband. I'm popular and important. So I'm not it's just like it could be your friend's husband hug, whatever. We've all done it. That's not a big deal. I don't think anything about that. Now, look at the look at me eyes, by the way. There you go. It gets weirder. Let me show you what I'm talking about. When you Google Meghan Markle flirting, it comes up with this guy. His name is Alexis. It comes up with, or I think it even says flirting with Serena's husband, which again, take it with a grain of salt. But let me show you this. I did not make these arrows. Somebody else made these, and I find it very funny. Look at this picture. I'm like, whoa, what am I looking at here? So again, when you Google it, this photo is just out there. So I don't know. Maybe it's photoshopped. People added these arrows. I think it's funny. Interesting. I remember hearing reporting on this at the time, and then somebody else, again, I didn't circle this, somebody else did, showing the placement of the legs, the flirty nature in which the discussion's being had. It's just interesting. It's all part of it, and it is very interesting. Do you remember hearing about this story at the time? Did this register at all? Again, do you think this is nonsense? Would you put it past her? Yacht girl, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think, is there something there? Is it just, pictures taken out of context? I don't know. I'll let you judge for yourself, but interesting and funny on the heel. If it was just this standalone, I probably wouldn't even talk about it because, again, it could be dismissed, but it's funny putting it in context with Meghan's dramatic pictures, the being ignored by Serena's mom, and the cringy moments, and then being called a jinx, and now allegations of flirting with the hubby. I don't know. It's a lot. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe you should have stayed back from this trip. It sounds like you were a jinx to yourself, to Serena, to everybody around you. By popular request, demand, the claw, I got asked to play the video from the polo match, and I'm laughing because it's so uncomfortable. I can't wait to talk about it with you. It's called the Mega Cringe video, and woo, you will cringe. And if you haven't seen it before, well, buckle up because you're in for a treat. But also, speaking of treat, I have a treat here with me to help me through this video, and he's looking at me like I'm crazy, which is nothing new, and has no idea what he's about to watch. Say hello.
Hello, this is Jay. You may also know me on YouTube as Dr. Bad Vibes and also on Twitch as Dr. Bad Vibes. And I'm not just a treat, I'm a whole freaking meal. Prepare to get stuffed.
Oh, God. My God, I did not know he was going to say that. He comes on my Patreon a lot and he talks freely. He thought we were recording for Patreon. I'm like, no, don't say weird stuff. Don't say weird stuff. Anyway, guys, yeah. What a treat. If you're new here, I'm so glad you're here. I've had so many new subscribers the last couple of days. It's kind of blowing my mind. But this is Jay, my husband. I'm pointing to him like you can see him. He does have a YouTube channel. It's called Dr. Bad Vibes. He plays nerdy video game stuff. So I'm sure the Venn diagram of people that like nerdy video game stuff and Harry and Meghan stuff is huge. Just kidding. But do check him out and hit that subscribe button. But the reason I've brought you here today, Jay, is to cringe beyond cringe. Your favorite, right?
I do love a good cringe, and these two have been a great factory for that. They've been outputting on overtime.
Right. I'm not going to tell you what's in this video yet. I'm sure you're fully aware, but just in case there's like two of you in the audience that are like, what is this video? Oh, just you wait. It's so cringy. I'm excited. So here's the deal. And Jay doesn't know what's going to happen, so I'm very excited about that. You'll be able to hear his reaction in real time. I'm going to set the stage for what you're looking at, and then we're going to play the video, and we're going to talk our way through it, and we'll probably watch it more than once because it's that bad. So this was May 2022, and it's in Santa Barbara Polo Club, where apparently Harold of Harold and Fraud, he's a member. His team is Los Padres, and his team is there to accept. They'd played a game and they're accepting an award, and just wait and see what happens. Now, real quick, while I got you, since I've been talking fashion lately, I actually got to say she looks better than she usually does. I hate the shorts, truthfully. I thought it was a skirt, which I liked it a little better, but they're shorts, so I hate them. Has her belt pulled back up to her neck, as per usual. But I don't hate the top, so that's a high compliment, right? Now, she is at a polo match wearing polka dots, so my first thought, Pretty Woman. I think that's probably a lot of people's first thought, Pretty Woman, the movie. And come on, if you're being called a yacht girl, I don't know that I'd dress, like Pretty Woman. But anyway, that's beside the point. But my actual first thought was, oh, she's channeling Diana. That's what's happening here. Diana wore this to a polo match, and something happens later where I'll talk about it after the video. Let's just get into this video. I'm stalling. It's crazy. Here we go.
Seriously, I don't follow this that closely, but what's up with all the cosplaying of Diana? Like, is this a I don't know, popularity thing, or is it a weird mommy thing?
Both.
Like, if I don't want anybody. If somebody was dressing up as my dead mom to like have elicit any kind of response out of me, it would be what are you doing?
Not on Patreon.
I stopped it.
Okay, so this video was obtained by The Sun. There is no sound to it mostly. There's one part where all of a sudden randomly it starts cheering, but there's no sound, so you're not missing anything, and they're flashing words on the screen. None of that matters. Just pay attention to the video. I'm going to kind of talk us through it because, again, Jay hasn't seen it and won't know what the heck's happening. And then I'm going to put him on mic and he's going to react to it. You ready? Buckle up. Here we go. So his team is accepting this trophy. It looks like Liesl Nixon Memorial Trophy. Why is Meghan there? I don't mean to step on your toes. I'm sure you're going to say the same thing. But why is she there? She's the only one, wife, girlfriend, whatever, that is there in the middle of the team. She's like trying to make herself part of it. See? So she's standing. Oh, they're blocking her shot. So she has to move into the shot. It's the most bizarre thing. The teammates are all like, what the fuck? It is so strange. So she's trying to make herself part of it. She's kissed everybody on the team on the cheeks and then kisses Harry on the lip. But watch this. Trying to get his attention, wiping his face. It's so weird, you guys. So weird. So we're going to take a look back. I think I have another angle of it. Hang on. This video was from The Sun. Like I say, I looked for it looks like this may have been edited a little bit. I wanted to show you a fully unedited one, and I think I found it. Again, no sound, so Jay's just going to talk over what he's seeing. Here we go.
So we've got another angle here. It's a TikTok, so there's words on it. But I'm here with another angle on it to be like, what is going on? I mean, it's like total Yoko Ono stuff. Like, she's shoved herself in the middle of everything. You can tell the friends are like, what is she doing? And like, they don't want her up there. It's like freaking Salt Bae trying to, act like he won the World Cup or whatever he was doing. And I believe he ended up getting banned from, being close by or whatever. I mean, she's got a little bit more reason than him to be there, but not much. I mean, she wasn't playing polo. She's kissing these dudes, and they're like, the other two are like, why? No, please don't. I mean, and I don't think that's a British is it a British tradition?
Know.
Italian maybe, or French.
She didn't want to be British,
but
even if it is.
Yeah, I mean, she seemed to be so against, the UK traditions and royal traditions. I don't know why she's going into that so hard, but freaking weird and also cringe, so I'm into it.
Yeah, so we're running on repeat now, so you can see it in the background. It is the most cringe-worthy. It like I have a visceral reaction to it. Like, it just really freaks me out. Every bit of it. Like, I've got to move closer. I got to kiss this guy. It's so weird. I got to be in the shot. It's just like, no, you don't need to be there. Get out of the way. Watch here. She's going to try to steal his box. And he's like, no, F off. Go away. Why are you here? Oh, my God. So, Jay, I'm hoping to hurry up and get that 100,000 plaque. When I get that, why don't you come and try to steal it from me? Or
Yeah, if YouTube has like an acceptance ceremony, I'm going to jump up on stage and like yank it away for myself and be like, yeah, I set up the internet and bill pay, and I did tech support on the computer. It's my award. Actually, that would give me more. I probably did.
You have more of a right to be there.
Yeah, so put my name on that too, please.
You designed my merch, so there you go.
Yeah, now I feel smart. No, I mean, for real, like, she has no reason to be up there. I mean, what, did she brush the horse or polish the mallets?
With her mouth.
Yeah, she shined all the polo balls. I mean, like, I can't imagine she had anything at all to do with it. I mean,
No.
they freaking sit down. Like, I mean, attention whore. Like, that's all it is.
So, okay. The other thing I want to talk about here. Okay, so it's again, I got to get in the shot. Oh, blocking me. I got to be in the shot no matter what. It's got to be about me. Attention on me. I'm right in the middle, even though I have nothing to do with anything. I just love the guy to the left's face. He's like, what the fuck? There. Okay, so she's kissing each of his teammates, whatever. But then she kisses Harry, and oh, see, they cut it off. Let me play the other video again. Hang on. So I'm back on the sun video again because, again, it's a different angle. So, again, you can see clearly jostling for the middle no matter what. I'm in on the joke. Give it to me. Ha, ha, ha. He does not find it funny. So she's like, oh, I got to be the center of attention. Oh, here we go. Yep. Yeah, it's all about me. I'm going to get... Oh, you can't see my face. I got to get right in the middle. Look, my hat. Ha, ha, ha. Coquettish. So annoying. Okay, so see, she gives each of them a kiss. She's wearing bright red lipstick. See, she kisses Harry. And she's trying to get his attention. Look at me, look at me. Tap, 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 look at me. I gotta wipe your lips off. Because he's a child. He's her child. It's so weird. Look at me, all attention on me.
So I'm sitting here to the side watching this, and I'm just drawing parallels in my head. I love that there's multiple angles of this cringe porn, because much like the real thing, early DVDs with the multiple angles is something that actually takes advantage of that, and we get to see
Oh my God.
the
We're not on Patreon.
we get to see
Money
the
shot?
money shot. Yeah, I'm being clean. Everybody knows that's a thing, right? Multi-angles, that's a thing. Everyone knows that. That's not secret knowledge. Shut up. And but it's just so bad. I don't even know what else to say. I mean, yeah, it's like she shoves herself front and center, treats him like a child. Clearly annoys the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Tries to yank the freaking candy box or whatever the heck that is that guy's holding, the wooden box of treasure.
Cigars.
Yeah, and he's like, no. And then she gives up, and yeah.
I wish they'd dropped that trophy on her head.
Yeah, I mean, it's I just keep thinking of the freaking Salt Bay moron. It's just that, like, yeah, I did it, and everybody's like, who are you?
I'm going to put one more piece in this cringe puzzle for you, Jay. You're going to love this. So see this where she's covering his face and kissing him because she's coquettish. They never show PDA. Well, let me hide it. No, it's so weird. So she's like kissing him right here, right, with this bright red lipstick. Oh, I'm sure that was totally an accident and not at all planned, except for one small thing. Will you look at this? A famous picture of Diana and Charles. Diana's in the polka dots, kissing him like this, caught by the press. I know, I don't know. Caught might be dramatic, but you know what I mean? Taking pictures by the press. And oh, what a coincidence. Meghan happens to do the exact same thing to Harry. Ugh, God, the looks that his teammates are giving her are pretty hilarious.
So weird. It's like, again, it's the cosplaying of Diana. Like, is she before I even get it out of my mouth, is she doing it for his benefit or her benefit? But I think we know it's for her benefit. But it's so weird. I mean, alive or not. I mean, I'm just speaking from my own perspective. If Jim was dressing like my mom for no reason or whatever, I'd be like, "What are you doing?" And it's like, I'd be like, "Friggin' stop! Dress like Black Widow from the Avengers, or Spider Girl." Not mom. That's so weird.
Where are you going with this?
My polo mallet's oscillating. Is she doing it for his benefit? Is what I'm getting at. Like, I was making the sexual jokes, but it's
so weird.
It's so weird. I mean, I guess Diana was pretty beloved by everybody, so I guess that she's like, hey, if I just dress up like her and sneak in, everybody be like, oh, okay, and then I'll be beloved. I don't know.
Hey, but for real though, we're not on Patreon, so don't get gross. But do you think he calls her mommy in bed?
Yes. Oh, mommy, please put on my special cream. Little Harry needs his special cream.
Oh God! Grab your polo mallet.
It's oscillating. Oh. My polo mallet's oscillating.
Oh, God. Well, guys, I hope nobody got sick after this episode. I feel just completely weird after watching that, and by hearing Jay tell me to dress up like Spider-Girl. Anyway, that was a doozy to watch. Thank you so much, all who recommended that we cover this one. That was actually a ton of fun. And if you have more that you'd like to see like this, by all means, let us know in the comment. Cringe. That's right. You guys, that cringe has been off the charts. I've been deep diving cringe moments. We did USO cringe, polo cringe. We just did the tennis match cringe. Ooh, cringy to even talk about. So I had to deep dive into some Netflix cringe. And there's so much to choose from. But for me, there's a standout moment. So without further ado, let's take a look at some made-up crap that never actually happened cringe. That's right. Ooh, get ready to cringe. Before we get into the cringe, I have to set the stage with this video clip that I found. Get ready for this because it perfectly sets the stage for the upcoming cringe, plus shows you that she never tells the truth on anything. You can never believe a word out of this woman's mouth. Here we go.
I'm so lucky.
So you got to have literally all of these different dreams kind of come true at the same time.
Yeah, I can't complain about anything.
No, it's fun.
You guys, you heard it from the horse's mouth. She said she can't complain about anything. Seriously. And just keep that in your mind as we get ready to deep dive this cringe. Here we go.
And you still don't fit in.
This is the biggest bunch of cringy BS I've ever heard in my entire life. I cringe so hard rewatching this. It makes me like shudder, wince, squirm, you name it. Oh, I'm doing all of it. Okay, so some non-identifiable member of the crew, which, yes, I've heard the million stories of people saying, no, never heard that, never did that, doesn't make sense. They don't wear hats. Anyway, knelt and took his hat off and said, "We appreciate everything you did for our country." I'm sorry, what did you do for the country except for call them a bunch of racists and be horrible to the staff and to the family that's trying to welcome you? And oh my God, levy all these accusations against them when you know they won't speak up back against you. The worst possible things, and I'm not excusing Harry, I'm including him right in this, but I'm saying for her to go on and to tell this fabricated, clearly made up story of this bullshit. Oh, it just makes me sick and it makes me cringe so hard how much she believes her own nonsense. She's drinking her own Kool-Aid. But you guys, she felt like it's the first time someone saw, I can't even get through this without laughing, the sacrifice. Not for her own country, but for this country that's not mine. What sacrifice? What are you talking about? This story doesn't make any sense. And again, it's just feeding her own ego and just self-serving narcissism right here. It's right here in front of us. We can all see it. I just don't understand why the sugars can't, but that's another story. And if that wasn't cringe enough, she has to add on, I landed in Canada. The security guards that H had had so long. I collapsed in his arms, just crying. I tried so hard. I can't. What did you try at? Spending the most money? Oh, congratulations, you won that. Treating everybody around you like garbage? Yep, you won that too. What sacrifice? I'm still thinking about that. When you went to the garden party and told everybody how boring it was and how bored you were, and the just the royal duties where you're complaining because you're not getting paid. Just unbelievable to watch her lie like this and to believe her own lies into the camera like that. And that one tear left eye still going. The story, of course, has to wrap up with her, the hero, saying, I tried so hard. I know you did, ma'am. Please. She would backhand anybody if they called her ma'am, first of all. Second of all, it didn't happen. None of this happened. It's gaslighting. You're acting like we're crazy by making up these stories and then telling us things when we've seen nothing but the opposite behavior from you and your idiot husband. I will never forgive and never forget how she and her idiot husband treated Her Majesty the Queen in her final phase of life. It's just unacceptable and vile, disgusting behavior. So you can spin as many sad stories like this as you want and full all the idiot sugars that you want, but you'll never convince me you're nothing but trash and disgusting. And also, you're a terrible actress. So suck on that, left ear, left eye, whatever. I'm so mad I can't even think straight. Anyway, and Cringe. That's right. We are going to deep dive that 2019 Lion King event. And it gets super cringe. So you're going to have to buckle up for this one. We're going to go into the Bob Iger pitch. We're going to go into... They also pitched themselves to somebody else at this premiere. Cringe. This is when they were still pretending to be working royals. We're going to go into the elephant documentary that resulted from the pitch. We're going to go into what happened to the money. We'll get into that. That was supposed to be donated from the documentary. We're going to go into what else happened at this premiere. You guys, spoiler alert, this is the one where Meghan claims in Cut Magazine that the Lion King actor from South Africa, said that the people of South Africa danced in the streets the same way they did when Mandela was freed. Ooh, so much cringe, so much havoc caused in one single night, as well as, I hate this dress so much. I've gone into that into detail, but still, I can't overlook it so much. Let's dive into so much cringe. Right, first off, definitely go back and watch my fashion fails because I go hardcore into how bad this dress failed. It was not properly fit or tailored. It's an awful length. It didn't flatter at all. The mesh is stretched. It doesn't photograph well. It just did no favors for her whatsoever. And Hasnabal's pants actually were high waters. And it's hard to tell in these photos. I've seen other photos where the pants weren't quite right either. So these two were a mess this night. But as awful as the outfits were, and they are... That's the least offensive thing to happen on this night. So this is 2019. Again, Lion King premiere there in London. These two were still pretending to be working royals at this point. Whew, we're just going to dive right in and take a look at the video of these two pitching themselves. I played it not long ago in a video, but I didn't break it all down. So this video is 50 seconds long. I'm just going to let it play because you need to hear it first, and then we're going to rewatch it. I'm going to talk you through it.
That's really why we're here. It's the pitch.
Just not skull.
Oh my gosh, so much cringe. Okay, can we just take a look at this now? All right. So that is Jon Favreau there with the glasses. Of course, aware she was pitching, or they were pitching to Bob Iger. I didn't know they were pitching to Jon Favreau as well. I mean, that guy does everything from Iron Man movies to Swingers to Mandalorian, you name it, he's done it. Harry's pitching them hardcore for voiceover work. And Meghan makes a joke, well, that's why we're here, to pitch. That's Beyonce straight back and Jay-Z to the right, back. You can see him in the back there. Harry, while pitching them for voice work, says he'll do anything, just not Scar. Again, these are supposed to be working members of the royal family at this event and pitching themselves for work. The irony is not lost on me that Harry is saying no to Scar, even though, like Scar, he became the main antagonist of the family. So it is funny. Usually Meghan is hyper aware of the cameras, but now she's distracted because she's talking to Beyonce. So she's unaware. For once, she's not playing look at me with the camera, but look at Doofus. He's completely unaware that the camera's right on him as he's pitching to a seemingly surprised Bob Iger. Just like hell, I can remember which book it was because I've read so many recently. It was either Revenge or Courteous. They go into this interaction and they talk about how taken aback Bob Iger was. Now, I'd love to say he was, but we know she ends up getting work because of this. So maybe he, I think he was okay. So Meghan is happily chatting to Beyonce, and again, Dum Dum is talking to Bob Iger, pitching that we'd love to try. I bet she was pissed that he didn't just pitch her, he pitched both of them. But he's trying to say she does voiceovers, and then he says, you seem surprised, and then kind of works in that they're both interested. Bob Iger's wife Willow standing right next to them, and if you look to the left, see Elton John sitting down just behind Willow, and David Furnish, his husband, actually just leaned down to whisper something to him. I'd like to think he said, "Can you believe this ass clown is pitching himself?" Seriously, he's a working royal at this point and pitching himself and the wife for work. I just want you to think about that. Imagine William and Catherine pitching themselves for work. Like Catherine pitching herself for a, advertising campaign or a photo shoot or something like at a royal event. It just wouldn't happen. It's ridiculous. It's so cringy to watch. So I did some Googling. I found where publications were covering it. E! News talked about it, and they call it the elevator pitch. They were still pretty gentle on them, but I just find it so cringy. But they pointed out that, again, that Jon Favreau was there, and I just wondered, did he slink off to the side? Was he creeped out too? Because all of a sudden he disappears out of the shot. We'll get into more cringe that resulted from that night, but let me go into this. So as a result of this, she ended up getting voiceover work in I guess it's a documentary, the show Elephant, which is on Disney Plus. It came out in 2020 on Disney Plus. I wonder if Hazmat got upset because he doesn't have a part in this. But regardless, of course, she's in it, and she's billed as Duchess of Sussex. Wow. So when I was Googling it to learn about it, I did find articles such as this. Critics slam Meghan Markle's voiceover work on Disney's Elephant documentary, saying it's packed with, quote, schmaltz and cheesiness. They go on to point out that most viewers gave the film a solid 3-star rating, citing the stunning cinematography as the main draw, but Meghan's narration as, quote, a slightly annoying detail to overcome. I haven't actually watched it, but based on what little bit I've heard of her podcast and her speeches and how much she loves to hear herself talk, I don't doubt that for a second. So, when researching this, it has been brought to my attention by so many of you guys, and, well, when you Google it, you start to learn a little bit more. I'm going to show you what is being alleged. This is all alleged. It's hard to prove stuff like this, so we're just going to talk in general terms here. Ready? Because she was a working royal, the way I'm understanding is she would not have been paid for this role. Now, again, I wish I could remember which book it was. I want to say it was Revenge. Maybe it was Courteous. Went into this, that it was more of a stepping stone for them, knowing that they would be, stepping down. So it was more about exposure at the time. The payment that they wouldn't be receiving instead was meant to be a donation for Elephants Without Borders. So it was the Times of London that was reporting this deal, which was supposed to benefit the conservation charity, like I say, Elephants Without Borders. I keep seeing it was undisclosed. I've heard several million, but again, I have not been able to find the specific number. It sounds like negotiations were pretty much under wraps. I'm going to get into it. Some people have done some digging and think they've found some numbers, but again, it's alleged, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. So when you jump on your Google machine, you'll find that the alleged amount it's being reported around $3 million. Then on further Googling Meghan Markle elephant's paycheck, you will find that people are reporting allegedly that Disney said it wasn't donated. Now, I found somebody, again, take it with a grain of salt, that did a deep dive into this, and they kind of looked into what happened with the money. Okay, so this user's name is Build the Herd. They are reporting that Meghan's compensation for the project was $3 million. Person goes on to report, hey, it's kind of weird, right? Because they can't find that dollar amount anywhere being reported as having been donated. Upon further digging, it does appear like the compensation has somehow disappeared. They don't know, they can't find that the compensation has been made to Elephant Without Borders. She tried to do some digging through the websites and through tax forms with the IRS, Elephants Without Borders themselves. It was released in March of 2020. She looked into, well, it should have been done around 2019 to 2020 and looked deeply into the 2 years, and here's what she found. So this person ran into a bunch of questions along the way and never could find the exact amount that was being reported. And they did see where Disney has worked with the organization. They just couldn't find specifically on this project what was being announced to have been donated. So what's being alleged here, and again, we don't know, but what's being alleged is that on paper it was announced these terms, but what seems to, or I guess what's being filed is more of along the lines of, she's reporting in 2019, $498,000 was donated, $201,000 in 2020, it looks like. Now, there are stories floating around. Take them with a grain of salt. We don't know. But allegedly, it was given to Markle and then not donated. That's one possibility that's out there if you do some Googling. The other possibility is that Disney directly donated some or all of it, and then maybe she got paid on the side. I think the truth maybe lies somewhere in between. Again, this is complex and interesting. I've had a lot of comments saying, she didn't donate. Maybe that's the case. It's really hard to prove that. I find it all so interesting. I've had a lot of comments saying that you believe she kept it. There's about 1 million possibilities. It's hard to prove regardless. Okay, so moving on from that, let's get back to the night in question. So the Lion King premiere, right? There is no footage of this. Interesting. Even though there is footage of them pitching themselves to Disney and Jon Favreau, there's no footage of this. She gives an interview, that Cut magazine interview. Okay, so in it she says that at this live action premiere, 2019 London premiere, The Lion King, she had just had Archie, and she says it was a cruel chapter, of course. She said she was scared to go out. She didn't look scared, but okay. A cast member from South Africa pulled her aside. She goes on to say, quote, "He looked at me, and he's just light. He's just like light," he said. "I just need you to know, when you married into this family, we rejoiced in the streets the same way we did when Mandela was freed from prison." Okay. All right. So that is the claim from Meghan Markle. You see it there. That is the direct quote of her interview in that Cut magazine. That's what she's claiming. All right, let's take a look.
Said that she was pulled aside by a South African cast member of the live action version of The Lion King during its 2019 premiere in London. Meghan claimed she was told that the people in South Africa rejoiced on the streets amid her wedding to Prince Harry the same way they had when the activist Nelson Mandela was freed from prison. The claims have since been denied by an acclaimed actor at the premiere who said he was the only South African cast member. Dr. Khani, voice of Rafiki in The Lion King and veteran of the Royal Shakespeare Company, claimed the line by Meghan was a faux pas as he had never met the Duchess. "I've never met the Duchess at all. I'm the only South African member of the cast, and I did not attend the premiere in London. It is baffling to me. I am the only South African in the cast."
Okay, so this is Dr. John Khani, and he is the only South African star of this Disney show, and he said he never met Meghan. So much like the mystery of the person that kneeled in the aisle in the airplane to thank her for her service, there's mystery over this as well, because Dr. John Khani says he never met her. And since then, Nelson Mandela's grandson slammed Meghan Markle for suggesting that South Africans would celebrate her wedding the same way they rejoiced Nelson Mandela's freedom. And I've actually had quite a few in the comments from South Africa that have lived in South Africa, that were born there, saying, no, it did not happen. That's not a thing. No. I mean, so from beginning to end, it was one giant cringe fest. The pitch meeting while being working royals, the elephant documentary that resulted, but that got panned for her performance, the money discrepancies allegedly that might have resulted, that's still a mystery. The Cut Magazine interview that she claims that this actor said things and then this actor said, no, I didn't even meet her. Comparing herself to Mandela, basically in the sense that people in South Africa danced in the street the same way they did for Mandela, is just one giant cringe fest. I mean, can these two ever tell the truth about anything? I ask you. It doesn't appear to. And again, I mean, it's just a disaster of a night. From the make-believe stories to the outfits themselves, they probably just should have stayed home. Oh, so much cringe. Cringe fest, that's right. You guys asked for it, so here we are. More cringe video coming your way. And I couldn't do this without the cringiest person I know. Jay, say hi.
Hello, this is Jay, a.k.a. Dr. Bad Vibes on YouTube and also Twitch. Look at my stuff. I'm going to look at this stuff and cringe until I implode.
Okay, so a lot of requests for this one. Again, I have seen this. Jay has not seen this, so that way we could get his reaction to this. And I'm sure most of you have seen it, but then who knows? Some of you hadn't seen the last one. If you haven't seen the last one, go back and watch that. We react to the polo match where it's so cringy. Anyway, more cringe. So let me set the scene for this. This is 2014. Meghan had gone with the USO for the troops in England. I'm saying it like that because I really don't know anything except for what happens in the video. So I'm just setting the stage based on what Google told me. So this is 2014. Harry and Meghan started dating in 2016. She was just hanging out in England, hoping to meet some English guy. Look who she ended up with. So we're going to watch this video again. Jay has not seen it. I was trying to think of the best way to do it. So we're going to let sound play, but then it's very obvious what it is. So we'll turn down the sound and I'll let Jay do some talking for once. I won't be Meghan Markle. I've got him by the arm, by the way.
Al, stop grabbing me. Let go, please, so we can watch this video.
Then I will stare at you.
Okay, I'm going to watch the video.
And here we go, a cappella. I'm dreaming of a...
All right, I wasn't going to pause it. I'm here pausing it because I just have to tell you what's happening. So Jay hasn't seen this. He's like, what am I looking at? It's the most awkward, cringy thing. So obviously that's Meghan there in the middle. people around her, I need you to watch how far they retreat from her. Of course, she took middle stage. People are retreating away. She's trying to grab the guy from her left's like drumstick or whatever. She's trying to grab his arm. Watch what happens when she tries to grab his arm. She tries to glom onto people on the right side. It's just so awkward. Here we go.
Christmas, you can link arms and weave just like the ones I used to know.
So, yeah, she's trying to grab this dude, and he doesn't want any part of it. So much so that I can't really see who these people are. I don't know if they're famous or what. But the older guy is basically saying, hey, let's link arms and weave. And they're like, nah. So she's trying to latch on to the one dude. So what's his net worth? But, yeah, I mean, the whole thing's weird. You can just tell nobody wants to be up there. And I may have a hunch why. Like, they're actively avoiding her. She seems lost, so she must have annoyed everybody behind the scenes. It's just so... I mean, it's a freaking USO show. Like, why so weird?
Exactly. Why so weird? People speculate on this one that she was a nightmare behind the scenes, and that's why nobody had anything to do with her. Now, I do want to point out a couple of things. One, look where she is on the stage. Of course she placed herself in the middle. Oh, I'm repeating it, by the way. I turned the sound down so we can just watch it in silence. So she's in the middle. Everybody else is gravitating toward the sides. Normally, it's not like that, but if you have a monster in the middle, I guess you would gravitate toward the sides. I did see a really funny comment I wish I had thought of, but somebody else made it. It said maybe she threw tea at someone before singing, which I love. And then somebody else pointed out she can't even stand on her own. She always has to attach herself to somebody. You can see it here. She's on her own. It's awkward. And then my question is, wasn't one of her majors, as she claimed, theater? What's happening here? Wasn't her whole claim to fame is she was a theater kid or something? I know her dad did the lighting, but I'm saying she always did theater. You would not be able to tell by looking at this.
Yeah, I don't know what her singing background is, but she's like hand waving her way through it, like I would when I got forced to go to church and had to sing songs or whatever. But it's like nobody wants to be there, including her. I mean, I'm sure she's like, doing the math in her head. What's this dude's net worth?
Yeah.
And
can't I be getting paid for this?
Yeah. I was like, if I have to do stuff, don't I get paid? I don't care if it's a charity or I assume it's a charitable act. Give me money, pay me. But it's just like I keep seeing it. It's just weird. Like it's like she's in the dead center, and like everybody's like just kind of inching away from her.
And it's like they've all been forced to do this. Nobody wants to do it, and I wonder, is it because she's up there?
Yeah. Is it because they're singing that they wish it was a white Christmas? Is she trying to
oh God.
Is she trying to turn that into a controversial thing?
Hey, Prince Harry, what do you have to say about that?
Oh, that's quite racist. So racist that my penis is oscillating. My penis is oscillating. My penis is oscillating.
And upon first viewing, I thought, well, maybe she saw that she had to sing, and she's like, well, what would the royals do? And she's like, didn't Fergie sing something? And then she probably realized, oh, wait, that's the wrong Fergie. Or maybe didn't realize it. Also, that's in the future from when this video was recorded. So she must have time traveled, thought about Fergie, thought about the royals, and then thought about how it would make her the center of attention, although I guess I didn't need a time machine. And that's my logic of why we're seeing what we're seeing.
Yeah, I don't know how to make this one more fun. The secondhand cringe is real. I'm sitting here cringing. I don't know. It's almost more cringy than that polo match, but then again, when I really think about what she did there, that's pretty bad, trying to steal the guy's trophy. But wow, yeah, thanks for everybody for recommending this. I feel like I need to go wash my eyeballs.
Do not wash your eyeballs. Perhaps what you need is a little bit of mummy's cream.
Oh.
I seem to have misplaced the jar.
No.
But I think I can scrape a little off. Hang on.
Oh, we're not on Patreon. Don't say that.
Here you go.
Oh,
Here you go.
Wiener.
My penis is oscillating.
No. Guys, I think the cringe is frying his brain. We're going to look at some more cringe. I had so many requests to go into the me first, pushing Harry aside moments of Meghan. So I thought, yeah, let's take a look. Now, in case you missed it, I already did a compilation where I show pictures of the control claw, so definitely check that out. But today we're going to actually look at some videos and kind of break down what's going on and why so controlling with that claw. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of the cringiest moments I could find. There's lots to choose from. All right, let's start out with that red dress we just can't escape. Ugh. So here's the control claw. If he doesn't stand exactly where she wants or move exactly how she wants, it's the control claw. I mean, I know the guy is dumb as a box of rocks, but she can't even let him stand where he wants to stand or talk to who he wants to talk to. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, let's move on to the next control claw moment. Here we go. Again, if Harry doesn't exactly move with her, she can't stand it. See? I'm going to move you to the side. I know the cameras are on me, so I'm going to rub you and appear like I actually give a crap, but it's about moving him, getting him to stand where she wants him to stand. My thinking was she didn't want the camera to block her. I don't know. But again, just disgusting behavior at a funeral-related event and making it all about, well, her and them. So this one happens quite a bit where if she doesn't like who he's talking to or she doesn't feel like she's the center of attention, she interrupts him by touching him and pulling him away. It's so weird. And again, in isolated incidences, no big deal, except for seeing them all side by side. It really is bizarre. And think about it if it was the other way around. If a man wouldn't let his wife or girlfriend or whoever talk to other people without having to pull her away, wouldn't it be alarming to see? That's how this strikes me. And take a look at this one. They have to hold hands when entering a function. He goes to dare shake somebody else's hand. She can't let go, even for a second. Feet planted, can't let go. Again, reverse genders. If it was a man doing that to a woman, wouldn't it be like, oh my God, what is wrong with them? Is she okay? But yeah, she just has no problem controlling him like that. It's so weird and codependent. Imagine trying to shake hands with somebody you hadn't seen in a while and your significant other would not let go of your hand. Wouldn't you be like, what are you doing? Let go. I'm not a toddler. What's that, Harry? We're supposed to be doing a meet and greet with veterans who have waited to see us? Oh, yeah, don't worry. I can interrupt that too and make it about me. Now you will sit when I decide it's time to sit. I don't care if you're an adult and you can decide for yourself. I decide for you. Sit down, Harry. Good boy. Also, Harry, you know the rules. You can never block the camera like that. I have to be front and center at all times. Look at me. Look at me. Okay, let's get into some of the really good stuff. So here, he's talking to these ladies. She feels the need to interrupt him, not just put her hand on him, but to actually push him to the side. Take a look at that hand. It's definitely a push to the side. See, it's sliding up his back, moving him to the side so she can step in. And he does some sort of weird curtsy to Meghan. What is that about? Watch. Okay, she's like, nope, not enough attention on me. Here we go. I got to step in, move him to the side. He curtsies, and there you go. Same thing here. I'm not having enough attention. I got to go first. I'm going to go right on in here, push you out of the way. There you go. Yep, shake my hand, me first. Wow, so much cringe. Ugh. All right, same behavior here, but from a different angle. She's annoyed that he's talking. She literally steps in front of him. He's just standing back there with his hands like that, not sure what to do with himself. He's a child. But she steps in front so she can be front and center because look where the camera is. Yep, she's annoyed with him. She pushes in front, and there you go. Talk to me. Don't worry about this guy behind me. Talk to me. I'm right here. Wow. Ugh. I don't know why he can't see it as well. Okay, this one's called Harry Gets Brave. So she allows him to go first by pushing his arm in front of her. He looks confused. And he takes the pen to sign whatever this is. She's waiting. Oh, he's had enough time in the spotlight. She's pissed. See? Give me the pin. Like, she's pissed at him because he doesn't know what to do and he's taking too long and she thinks it should be her time. Ugh, so cringy. And speaking of cringe, I thought we could end on this one. Look at this. He doesn't want to hold her hand. He tries to move his hand away. Bam, she grabs it again. It's so weird. She knows where the cameras are and that they're on her and that they must be holding hands because it's her idea, not his. So that has to happen. Oh, so much cringe. So she forces him to hold hands with her and he looks pissed. But you know what? He doesn't seem to want to stand up to her, so that's on him. Enjoy your miserable lives together, you angry ginger. Oh my God. It's just weird to see it all together, that he does act like a child, an angry toddler, and she acts like his mother and she controls him. Oh, he can't even shake hands with somebody else without her, I don't know, not letting go of his hand. I mean, even in the picture above, she can't not move him around. It's not PDA at this point, it's control. We're continuing on the cringe. You guys, the response to my cringe videos has been amazing. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to leave me comments. It really helps my channel grow, my videos grow. I just really appreciate you all. I really do. As always, if you have a cringe moment you want to see broken down and discussed, please leave it in the comments. I have a whole list going. So thank you so much for everybody who has suggested cringe moments. Okay, so let's continue on the cringe compilation. You know I had to do it. Let's talk that curtsy. That's right. That disrespectful wench decided she was going to make a mockery of our queen, and I won't have that on my watch. So let's mock her and her stupid husband instead. Here he is making his faces. He's too afraid to stand up to her, but he will make faces at her, as evidenced right here by this was his face when she was doing that stupid curtsy. So I thought we could take a look, break it all down, go through it. And I have some follow-up information as well. We'll take a look seeing her perform a curtsy on Suits. So, imagine that. She lied about something else, not knowing how to do a curtsy. Wow. Not that it's that hard. Seriously. All right, let's jump into this. Side note, I would love to play you the entire clip, but I can only use a little bit for fair use reasons. I encourage you to go watch it because there's just like 2 minutes of cringe and her awful behavior and exaggerating this whole situation. So it's even more disgusting when you watch it, but this is the part I really wanted you to see. But I will review and talk about everything that happens in those 2 minutes as soon as this clip is over. Take a look at this.
This is a big deal. I mean, Americans will understand this. We have medieval times, dinner and tournament. It was like that. Like I curtsied as though I was like, pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. Was that okay?
Where do I even start with this despicable duo? Oh my God. Okay. So she claims that she thought the curtsy was a joke. How could you think it was a joke? And if that's true, if she really thought he was joking, why didn't he explain it right then that it's not a joke? He says, how do you explain that to people? Easy, you moron. You just talk to them. She's trying to play up into that, I never Googled him, I didn't know. Bullshit. You're a terrible actress and nobody's buying this. And by the way, you're supposed to be an actress. How do you not know how to curtsy? Don't worry, we'll uncover your lies in a minute. You already curtsied before this. But no, here, I don't know if I'm assuming she was trying to go for relatable or something, and she ended up doing this, which came across as bitchy and mocking. And I can't stand her and I can't stand him for just going along with it. He can make his pouty faces all day long, but he didn't put a stop to it right there. That could have been it. But nope, he just goes along with it because whatever Meghan wants, Meghan gets. Oh, okay. So if Meghan wants to act like a cow toward the queen, your grandmother, you just allow it? Obviously so, because he doesn't mind bashing the family either. Yes, I've seen the comments that say she's not even mocking the queen. She's being self-deprecating. Bullshit on that too. That's not what she's doing. Anybody with a brain can see it. She's mocking. She's mocking the tradition. It's just another way she's showing she never was willing to conform or even try. while still trying to paint herself as, I don't know, a cool girl or a likable person, a down-to-earth person, but failing spectacularly because it just comes across as rude and petty and disrespectful. And side note, there are videos out there where she expected people to curtsy her. So she sure doesn't mind receiving it, but she acts all confused when it's time to actually give the curtsy or show respect to anybody else. And then this BS comparing it to medieval times. What? It's just another way to disrespect the monarchy, it's my opinion. But it's just another way to talk down to the family, another way of disrespecting. I have news for you. You are not relatable. You're an asshole. And then she comes up with this story that says Fergie said she did great. Well, Fergie has reputed the story. She has said she barely knew Meghan or something like that. I don't know. But she's basically saying it didn't happen like that. It's another instance where I go back and forth on who I can't stand worse. I can't stand her for what she's doing and the blatant disrespect she's showing, and I can't stand him for allowing it to happen, for not saying, hey, let's stop that. That's disrespectful. Even if he did it now as her spouse, he could let her know that that's not right. But nope, has no balls, can't seem to do that. He's afraid to speak up or something. He loves to trot out that relationship with his granny, that special relationship that he had. And I believe he did because I've heard lots of reports of it. But what I'm talking about is in the book Spare, he refers to it and actually calls it out as his own special relationship with his grandmother. And yet when this blatant disrespect is happening, where is he? Where's that special relationship now, you ass clown? Oh, but once again, her big stupid mouth biting her in the butt because people went back and found her perfectly curtsying when she was playing in Suits. I say playing because, I'm not going to say starring. When she was in Suits, she was doing curtsies here, but magically she forgot that. Can she not tell the truth about anything? Seriously, not anything? Well, guys, I'm going to let my blood pressure come down a little bit, but seriously, do you see why I'm doing these cringe videos? Because this one goes beyond cringe into cruel. Today, we got some fun cringe to talk about. We're talking the disaster tour in New York. This would have been in September 2021. Now, let me set the stage for you. This was Harold and Fraud's first big public appearance since leaving the royal family. And boy, did they make their mark in all the wrong ways. And I'm not just talking about this horrible outfit. You guys, please take a look at the screen and look at this horrible outfit. Have you ever seen anything so bad? But this was a 3-day tour through New York City. And I want to break down all the things that went wrong at each stop of this tour. Because, that's a thing. Every stop they made, everything they did had a problem. And it's really funny to get into. So I'm excited to break this down with you. I'm going to talk about why these are some of the worst outfits we've seen on Meghan. And that's saying something because, it's kind of incredible how much money was spent for 3 days and how wrong she got it at every step. And she got it so wrong. You guys, this is the Joker outfit. Oh my gosh. This picture strikes me so funny every time I see it. And even now I'm cracking up about it because she got it so wrong. And whoever pointed this out is a genius. It's so slouchy and so, ready, messy. It is. It's so messy. I don't understand how you see this and go, yeah, that looks good. That's what I'm going for. Or this. Holy crap, you guys. Oh, I'm giddy with anticipation. Oh my God. Okay. So let me set the stage for this. This was, again, 2021 in September. I say this is all from the same trip because I just want you to keep that in mind. 3 days. They were there for 3 days. It was 80 degrees. 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. It was unseasonably warm in New York. And you want to hear something funny? I had a sugar argue with me in the comments once because I had talked about this when I was going over the Revenge book about how there are articles written about how it's 80 degrees, unseasonably warm, and Meghan decided to dress like this in layers and camel coats and turtlenecks, completely got it wrong. And Sugar was like, oh no, it's never that hot in New York. I'm like, jump on Google, you can find it. Okay, so look at this outfit up close. I know I'm like jumping around because I'm giddy with excitement, but we're going to talk about each outfit and how much was spent, because the numbers are just eye-watering, especially when you put it into context. You know where I'm going with this, with the places that she wore certain outfits. But oh my God, you guys, sorry, I got distracted again. Look at the screen. Look at what is this outfit? This wouldn't look, this is not good on anybody. It's pulled up to her neck. Horrible. Again, 80 degrees. Look, big wool coat, turtlenecks. What's happening here? No wonder she has that bitter look on her face all the time. She's sweating her tits off. Look, what's happening? So as I mentioned, this tour was just marked with controversy. The whole thing was they were treating it as if it was a royal tour. They were meeting with city officials. They were doing private meetings. It was so misguided, and let me cut through the BS. What they were actually doing is bringing their Netflix crew along with them and trying to make themselves look more important. P.S. Can we spend about 14 hours talking about these pants? I just want you to take a look at the screen. These are the first. This is when they landed. This is the outfit that she made her debut in. Just take a look. And then after that, again, so many outfit changes. 3 days they were there in New York. I want you to look at these pants as well. I showed you from the front. I just want you to see the bottom. Now, you tell me that anybody can work with her because they're letting her go out like this. Look how awful that looks. Oh, my God. Okay. So they arrived by private jet because, of course, they do. Thursday on the 23rd of September. And on this day, first they went to a 9/11 memorial, and then they went to the UN headquarters. And they actually end up going to the UN headquarters twice on this trip. But first they're at the 9/11 memorial. And again, I just want you to look at what everybody else is wearing versus what Meghan's wearing and think about how hot it is. These two ass clowns thought it'd be a really good idea to bring a film crew to a 9/11 memorial. They can't just do things because for them it doesn't count unless it's on camera. P.S. The media was reporting on this, calling it crass commercialism. So the mayor was there, the governor was there, they had a private tour. There was controversy because regular folks like us couldn't get to the memorial at this point because, again, the private tour. And it was so awkward because, again, the mayor and governor were treating it like it was a royal tour, and Harry and Meghan just didn't seem to have a purpose for being there other than, hey, look at us. Look at me. I'm sweating my tits off. Look at me. So let's talk about the cost of this outfit. This was actually one of the less expensive ones, if you can believe it. She seemed to be cosplaying somebody grieving. It's like they told her, hey, we're going to a 9/11 memorial. She's like, okay, got it. So this is how she dressed. She is wearing an $1,872 Emporio Armani coat with matching $889 black trousers. She's wearing a $615 pair of shoes, Aquazzara, naturally, that's her fave, totaling up $3,374 to look like this. You're telling me she spent $900 on these pants that look like this? Really? I swear to God, I could go to Target and find a better fitting pair of pants than this. That high of a heel, and they're still dragging the ground. So then these two do a quick costume change, because that's what they are, costumes, for this nonsense. And they end up going to the UN headquarters. Now, they actually go twice during this trip. And I couldn't find which visit it was, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you one of the two visits, they are allegedly escorted out. What was going on is there was a world leaders meeting there, and allegedly they were asked to leave because they were being assholes, it sounds like. They didn't get proper clearance to film inside there, and you can't just do that. So they tried to sneak recording devices in, were escorted out of the building. I couldn't find the mainstream media reporting on it, but I found lots of people talking about this event that allegedly had happened at the UN building. So again, I talk about it now because they go twice. I'm not sure if it was this time or the next visit, but one of the two, allegedly they were asked to leave because they just thought they could do whatever they wanted in the UN building. Okay, let's talk about this outfit. Now remember, this is the same day. There, she's lost her coat. There's the coat. Okay, same day that they arrived. This is Thursday the 23rd. She is sporting this Max Mara camel coat that costs $4,377 for a coat. For a coat that does nothing for her, no shape, nothing. She's wearing a $561 Roland Mouret pencil skirt. Is it Valextra? Never heard of that. It's called Iside, ISIDE bag, which retails for $3,400. And Valentino sunglasses for $184, putting the total of this outfit at $6,544. And again, this is just for an outfit change. This is the second part of her that same day. Okay, then we go into Friday. It is the 24th of September, 2021. You guys, I would like to talk to you about 14 hours about this outfit. Is this not the worst thing you've ever seen? How? Why? Why would you go out in this? Oh my gosh. It is the most horrible thing I've ever seen. I don't understand what look you're going for when you wear something like this. This looks like pajamas. She is 100% cosplaying Michelle Obama. Michelle is on the left. You know who's on the right. Take a look and tell me she's not trying to... We know what she's doing. She's hoping to get written up that, oh, look, it's the next Michelle Obama. You know, that kind of thing. Please look at the waistline on these pants. Look at the belt pulled up to her neck. Look, none of it's right. Oh my goodness. Okay, can we talk cost of this outfit? Because things are going to get real disgusting here. So this is a Laura, is it Piana cashmere outfit? Okay, again, cashmere, 80 degrees. Do you know how much this coat costs? Just the coat. $5,840. You know how much the pants cost? Well, I'll tell you. They are $1,685 for those pants. Oh my God. She's wearing a Cartier Love bracelet. That thing costs $6,900. So, do you want to know how much this whole ensemble costs? According to Daily Mail, $15,788. Let that sink in. $15,788. So $16,000 essentially to look this stupid. But you know what makes it so much worse? You know where I'm going with this. Do you know where she wore this $16,000? I'll never stop saying it. $16,000 worth of clothing and jewelry, not even to count her engagement ring and everything else, and Diana's watch. You know where she wore this? And for those of you outside of America, let me just fill you in right here. Vogue actually sums it up pretty good. This school, PS 123, has students from 12 area shelters. 5 of them are for temporary housing, and 7 house women and children who have experienced domestic issues. It is estimated that 94% of the kids that go to the school depend on the free school lunches. So this clown shows up in $16,000 worth of clothes and jewelry and reading her book to these kids. Let that sink in, how completely tone deaf and disgusting that is. No self-awareness. Totally doesn't even bat an eye to wear this stupid outfit for $16,000 to these kids who are struggling to even get a meal. And yes, I did read that they gave something small. I think they filled up a pantry or something for the school. That's great. But you don't show up in $16,000 worth of this stupid stuff for a bunch of kids for a publicity stunt where you bring your film crew to film you reading to them. They are clueless, they are tone deaf, they are disgusting. It's stuff like this that really makes me sick. You thought old Harry was off the hook for this visit? Well, you're wrong. He made some news too. I'm going to show you a video. We're going to talk about it. Now, I think this was a little bit much, but I'm going to talk about it. He is being accused of shoving a kid there. And you're like, what? In my research, they talk about 2 instances where he shoves a kid away when he's done hugging them. You can see it there. Now, I hate the guy, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt for whatever reason for just a second and say he seems to be playing with the kids. But it is a cringe moment, right? I feel like this is all for the cameras. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, he pushed a kid. But people are saying, oh, he pushed a kid. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know. They've done weirder. But again, this outfit and the cost of it and the tone deafness occupies so much space in my mind. I think about this a lot. And to me, it just makes them disgusting. Okay, then we get to Saturday, which is September 25th. They do their second visit to the UN. Again, I'm not sure if it was the first one or the second one that they're allegedly asked to leave. I find that fascinating. I find this outfit horrific and fascinating. Does she not have a mirror? I don't understand. So let's talk about this outfit. Whew, so bad, right? So here she's wearing a Max Mara coat. It retails for $4,377. Should we all run out and get one? No? Okay. Hate the color so much. Hate the rolled up arm sleeves. Don't understand why she's dressing like it's the 70s era and not realizing it's 80 degrees outside. She's wearing $584. Yep, let that sink in. Pants, also by Max Mara, high-waisted. And Daily Mail calls this her power suit. And I'm thinking, what the hell is her power? Carrying a notebook around? What's the power? And I ask again, what is the purpose of this? If they had just gone and not documented it, whatever, like, that's up to them. But they didn't. That's not what they did. They documented the whole thing to look important for Netflix. For what purpose, I'm not really sure. It seems to be almost like a royal tour without the royalty, but still using titles. And then finally, after that second visit to the UN, she did a costume change to wear to the Global Citizen Live concert. Now, it's not the kind of concert you think it is. It's an annoying one. Can I just point out, though, too, she finally admitted, fuck, it's hot outside, so she ended up putting on a dress instead of all the layers of wool and camel and everything else that she had been wearing for this entire disaster trip. And she put on this disaster dress. Who walks out of the house like this? What's happening? Where's your mirror? All right, you ready for another cringe moment out of the dastardly duo? I'm not going to get political. I don't want to talk about the vaccine because it's up to you what you believe, and I don't need the comments about it. But I'm telling you what they were doing because it's going to add a whole new twist to this. They were up there lecturing about vaccine equity and how the wealthiest nations are hoarding them and keeping them from the poor countries, according to them. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Talking about wealth and equity, just think about that. Okay, so here she is in this white dress. How much does this stupid thing cost? You ready? Because it shocked me. Oh my goodness. All right. $4,500. Okay. She appeared to be wearing $16,500 Cartier earrings. She was wearing a $12,000 Cartier watch and her $900 Cartier love bracelet. While again lecturing about equality, equity, wealthy nations versus poor nations. No self-awareness. None whatsoever. This event ended up getting branded, quote, woke stock. Yeah, so from start to finish, it sounds like the trip was a complete disaster. She ended up spending it's approximated about $84,000, 67,000 pounds on 3 days worth of clothes and jewelry. Doofus got caught with a microphone wire hanging out. I mean, just anything to make themselves look important, right? Let's do these things and get it on camera. Here they are with their film crew, again, making sure they got the shot. I don't know where she's going. I'd like to remind you all it was 80 degrees. She's in a big wool coat and a scarf. I don't know what's happening there. She finally gave it on that last day and wore that stupid white dress. She's like, okay, fine, it's hot. I'm no longer Michelle Obama cosplaying. So that's about as much cringe as I can handle in a 3-day period. That's right. This time I thought we should focus on Harold of Harold Fraud. So we're going to deep dive the cringe that was that James Corden interview. What the timing significance was, what the cringiest moments, because that's hard to choose from. There were tons. And we're going to talk about why Harry and Meghan continue to make the worst possible choices every chance they get. So let's jump right on in and discuss this train wreck cringe fest interview. Okay, so normally I love to play the clips. The clips go along with the cringe because it really shows you the cringe. Now, just FYI, James Corden's on CBS. CBS does not play with copyright. So I will be showing you pictures because I'm allowed to do that and talk about that. I can't show you the video. So if you want a further cringe, I do encourage you. It's a 17-minute video. It is here on YouTube. You can actually watch it. But for today, I will just be showing you pictures along with talking about the cringe. Now, I am no fan of James Corden. I actually have a video somewhere. It's been a while. It's called Why James Corden is the Worst. I have a series of that of people like him that I just can't with. And he is one that I just can't. Anyway. That's neither here nor there. He actually was the least douchebaggy of the two of them. I would say Harry took the prize on this one. So this interview aired February 25th, 2021. Now let me put it in perspective as what was happening when this went down. February 17th, Prince Philip was admitted to the hospital. So again, we see where Harry's priorities are. This aired just days before the Oprah interview. The Oprah interview was March 7th, and again, this was February 25th, both 2021. Much of the interview took place on a double-decker bus, as you can see in the photos in the background. Now, some of it had to do with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They had Harry sing that. They had a Spartan race, but a lot of it did take place on this double-decker bus. Like, see, we're both English. Let's sit on a bus and drink tea. So that's what they did. There was a funny moment where the bus hit some sort of pothole or something and spilled tea all over Harry. So, if it could have hit Corden too, I would have been pretty happy about that. It actually came out via producer after this interview that apparently Harry had wanted to appear on the show and reached out quite often to be on it. I don't know why that strikes me so funny, but it really does. That is so Harry and Meghan. Of course, they're going to reach out and try to be on the show over and over. I mean, people aren't calling him, so he's going to call them instead. You ready for another very Harry and Meghan move? The publicist also reveals that, was it a publicist? No, producer, sorry. The producer reveals that Harry said, quote, he thinks he can cheer people up. He actually said several times he wanted to cheer people up with this interview. He thought, again, just coming off of 2020, going, early 2021, thinking he can cheer everybody up. It's just I don't even know why I'm surprised, but it's just, we're all struggling. We're still struggling, right? Financially, mentally, physically, all of us. Yet this toolbox thinks he can come on this show, crack a few jokes, talk about his mental health, and cheer us all up. He used this time to talk about how living in London was, quote, destroying his mental health. No, I'd say look to your wife for that. And insisted that he never walked away from the royal family. And he went on to say that he and his wife are all about public service. Just let that sink in, knowing everything we know now, how low they've sunk, how far they've come. They're trying to claim in this interview, 2021, that their life is all about public service. But always willing to paint himself a victim, paint them both victims, he said he, quote, did what any husband or father would do. What's that, Harold? Throw your whole family under the bus? Sell them to Netflix and for book deals and podcasts and stuff? Keep that in your mind when Archie does the same thing to you in a few short years, right? Side note, it came out during this interview that Corden performed a, quote, 10-minute bit at their wedding. And I just thought, oh, God, that's cringe. Just the idea of it, performing a bit at somebody's wedding. I'm sure they loved it. I'm sure they all ate it up. But I'm just like, oh, God, you got Harry, you got Fraud, you got Corden performing a bit. It isn't mentioned here, but I do believe I remember, I think it was Corden that hosted a dance-off at the wedding, too. Cringe heard around the world. Okay, so it was also during this interview that we found out another interesting thing. Not true. You guys, he tried to claim during this interview, do you remember this? What Archie's first word was? He says that it was crocodile. There is no freaking way that a little baby's first word was crocodile. It just doesn't make any sense. It's 3 syllables. There's no way. No, I'm sorry. You're full of crap. I very much doubt that Harry knows what the word crocodile is. He can't even write it in crayon, so there's no way that Archie's first word was crocodile. Okay, so not much else juicy was said in the interview. He did admit to watching The Crown and seemed to like The Crown. Now, just think about this. He's sitting here plugging The Crown, again, February 2021, Netflix show. You see where I'm going with this. He was on the Netflix payroll around this time. So, interesting that he puts a big fat plug for a Netflix show, The Crown, right here. And didn't The Crown, wouldn't he have so many reasons to not like The Crown? I'm not trying to shit on The Crown. I haven't really watched it, so I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, wouldn't he, of all people, not want to talk about The Crown? But here he is. Also, I need to bring up that Harry is not allowed to do anything on his own. Of course, Megalomaniac had to be involved. So they just had to make a FaceTime to Meghan during this, and here we are. Look, she's just like us, guys. She's giggly. Look at her on the screen. But take a look here. I actually got the image of her on the screen. I'm sorry, which face is this? Where's the bronzer there? I mean, I see some bronzer. She forgot to bronze her, like, neck and chest area, but what am I looking at? What face is this? Who are you? Is this a filter too? Of course she had to be in on this interview because Harold's not allowed to do anything on his own. He can't think for himself. That's basically the phone equivalent of the double claw, right? I'm here, Harry. You will not do this without me. You will not say things without my permission. So when I was researching this to refresh my memory, because I did watch this at the time and thought, oh, what is this? I found where critics were panning this whole thing, just calling it very fake and phony, like the two of them. And they said, quote, "Stop bloody whining" to Harry. Oh, how far he's got. He's got much more whining to go, guys. Don't even worry. All right. Another interesting thing that came out is they pointed out that interesting timing, Harry, that this happens now because it was released right at the time where a queen was giving one of her important messages surrounding COVID and again, I don't want to talk about it here, but vaccinations and stuff. And they felt like he was doing this on purpose. And I thought, of course he was. That's his favorite thing to do. Anybody's got a birthday, anybody's got anything they're trying to talk about. Nope, Harold and Fraud will figure out a way to make it about themselves. I don't know. On thinking about this and again, looking back with the lens of everything we know now from Spare and everything, the Netflix stuff, everything we've seen from these two, it just feels like, it was obviously a way to get himself on TV, to get himself out there more. It was in the middle of this big, I guess, media blitz where they were doing everything they could to continue to do. And it was just a way to kind of rewrite history again for them, right? And make himself a victim. Like he did anything any father and husband would do to protect his family. From what or whom, I have no idea. Harry doesn't even know at this point. He's so confused. Another chance to bash the media, his favorite thing to do while talking to media. Again, a point that seems to be lost on Harry. But another way to rewrite history and take aim at his family. Another of his favorite pastimes. But just remember, guys, if anybody gets down, whether it's the media and his family, and they're feeling bad about all the crap that he and his stupid Instagram-loving bitch wife like to do, then I would say, don't worry. He seems to think he can cheer everybody up. That's a thing that he thinks he can do. The two of them. Again, a match made in hell. And actually, I would add Corden into that. The three of them. Enjoy that. You're all nauseating pricks. Anyway, guys, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed deep diving this. So much cringe. Archetypes edition. You guys, we have discussed this awful podcast before, but I just thought, you know what? I want to talk a little bit more about it because it is truly terrible. We actually deep dove into an episode on Patreon where we listened and discussed amongst ourselves, and it's worse than I could possibly even explain. But I thought we would get into some of the behind the scenes stuff and, more importantly, the reviews that were left on this thing because they are hilarious. So Archetypes is their Spotify exclusive podcast. And I say there, he is on, I believe, at least one episode, but it's mostly hers. There are 23 episodes at the time of this recording. There are speculations that it's done, but then even when you go into IMDb, it's not showing it is quite over yet. There's still an open on the end date. So we'll see. It's to be determined, I suppose. As you can tell when you click, I just went to IMDb. I was very curious. I figured the sugars honestly had infiltrated the reviews, so I figured it wouldn't be so bad. But oh, you guys, take a look at this. Almost 4,000 reviews, 3.2 out of 10. Now I want you to look at this. This is the cover art that they use for the podcast. A Spotify original, Archetypes with Meghan. Since when does she not use her title? Come on, what are we doing here? But look at this picture. I'm so down to earth. Look at me. It's time to get serious with a microphone. Look at me. I have important thoughts. Listen to me. Oh, that's what I should call this. Listen to me. So some of her guests have included Mariah Carey, Jenny Slate, Mindy Kaling, different people like that. We actually listened to the Serena Williams episode. Oh my goodness. I've talked about it at length, but I will remind you here, we listened for a good 20 minutes, and I swear to God, we didn't even get to hear Serena. I couldn't believe it. It was only Meghan talking, and it is the weirdest, most disjointed thing. I had heard allegedly that she had somebody else interview the guests, and then she would record the beginning part and then go in and plug herself in like she's having the conversation. I don't know that to be the fact, and where she and Serena are friends, maybe she actually talked to Serena. But I could tell you what, the beginning part was so unbelievable. Jay and I just kept saying, when does Serena talk? Like, the one I actually want to hear what she might have to say. She might have some interesting things. No, it's just Meghan going on and on about her favorite subject, herself. So a funny thing I discovered when I was putting together this video, I was Googling that Archetypes, and I found out allegedly Meghan had tried to trademark the word archetypes, and they said, no, you can't, no. That's already a word. You can't just take that for yourself. So the other funny thing, it's been reported that Spotify spent about $18 million. This is from the Daily Mail. $18 million on a 3-year Harry and Meghan deal. But he's been on record saying that he got, quote, carried away on a spending binge here. So it wasn't just their podcast that they were talking about, but he has specifically called out spending too much on their podcast. I'm an important businesswoman. Listen to me. You guys, I can't even with this photo shoot. What's happening here? Okay, so let's take a look at what we're all here for. Let's take a look at some of the reviews. Now, these are just IMDb reviews. Spotify is a real pain in the ass to try to find reviews on. I believe there are reviews for it, but I just went to somewhere where a lot of reviews were held, IMDb, and just to take a look. And again, I showed you at the beginning, terrible score. Let's take a look at some of the reviews. So this is the very first one I came to. It's actually a featured review, and it's titled Pointless, and they gave it a 1 out of 10. The Archetypes podcasts are nothing but self-promotion and false trumpet blowing by the overinflated ego of a narcissist. Not even the topics covered were interesting. Time I will never get back. That's exactly how I felt after listening to it. I just couldn't believe it. It was so much nothing and so much herself. Anyway, I had high hopes for this. I didn't. But it showed me another side of the speaker. Thoroughly unenjoyable at times, uncomfortable, and cringeworthy. I would suggest whoever has not listened to these episodes to not waste their precious time. Nothing will be gained from listening. I now have to use another 130 characters for my review to be accepted. So this is what I'm doing now, but I have nothing else to say about the podcast. I love it. That's such an excellent review. That was my exact takeaway. It was such a waste of time and such a weird self-promotion. It's like, I don't want you to waste your precious time on this, but I do think you should, I don't want to even give her to listen. Listen for 5 minutes. Maybe find if somebody's posted it online or something, just listen for 5 minutes and just hear how ass-kissy it is. It's wild. You know those word salads that I've posted? It's that times 100. But throw in a bunch more me's and you've got the podcast. All right, another featured review, The Audacity of the Activists, or do you mean bullies? 1 out of 10. The artifice in this episode is beyond comprehension, starting with the host and the guest, both accused of bullying of staff and fans who are critical of them. Here's an exercise in presence, claiming to the activists. This episode draws to home the fact that much of Hollywood is about virtue signaling and word salads, activists, or agenda setting. For both participants, while it's encouraging to hear beliefs in certain causes, it's disgraceful to see that their actions don't match. Now, unfortunately, the way that IMDb listed this one, it didn't say which specific episode they were talking about. I would love to know which guest they're talking about, but I get what they mean. It's the preaching. Like, it's the Ellen thing over again, right? Like, be kind. And then you find out behind the scenes they're a monster. Same thing. Okay, the next one says boring and shallow. That could be a description of Meghan. 1 out of 10. And it says, I tried to give it a chance because I was a fan of Meghan, but I started to like her less after each episode. After everything else she's put out, sadly, I'm no longer a fan. I hope Archetypes, and then parentheses wrote stereotypes, lol, doesn't get another season. The episodes themselves just seem very self-absorbed. The focus was always on Meghan the most, not the amazing women she was supposedly interviewing. Ding, ding, ding. Exactly. That's exactly my complaint. I wanted to hear what Serena had to say, but I couldn't even get there because I had to get through 20 minutes of this doofus talking. She would not shut up about herself. And it's not just kissing her own ass, which I will call out. It's the slow and measured way she speaks and kind of flirty, but nonsense. I would go nuts. I talk too fast as it is. I have people tell me to slow down, but I can't help it. I'm thinking fast. I'm talking fast. Like, it's crazy. I don't know how people could, I would lose my mind trying to listen to this thing. I don't know how you could get anything done or just get into this podcast. It's the most self-absorbed thing I've ever seen or heard. All right, another one, a self-serving debacle, 1 out of 10. While I really would have liked to hear more from the guests, Markle has an annoying habit of interjecting herself into the conversation. It is less interview or even chatting with a friend over a defined topic and more of a dissertation on how Markle perceives herself. That's right. That's so well said. It is. It's a dissertation. She's right, or this person's right. It's forced, uninteresting, and exemplifies why people have said in other reviews that it's more about Markle, less about the guests. Mariah Carey at least got a few words in. I won't tune in again. I have no interest in a podcast with celebrities that don't get to speak, while Meghan spends so much time on her favorite topic, herself. This person nailed it. And I don't think all these people got together to say the same thing. This is truly what people are thinking. I didn't have to search out these reviews. They were just in order like this. And this is exactly what I was saying too. It's a dissertation on herself. And why advertise you're going to have celebrities on if you don't let them speak? All right. This one's called Let's Talk About Me. 1 out of 10. I'm afraid I found it too hard to listen to for more than a couple of minutes at a time. What a farce. I understand many of her guests were not even in the room with her, which of course gave her the opportunity to talk about her favorite subject, herself. See, I told you I heard the same thing. I can't even remember where I heard it, but I heard that somebody else did the interview and that I think at least one of the guests thanked the person that interviewed them rather than Markle. Anyway, the subject matter was for the most part, not archetypal or even stereotypical. Wow, that's hard to say. Stereotypical. I'm not sure how they applied the majority of listeners or even Markle herself. It felt as if she was clutching at straws at her podcasts were, of course, peppered with veiled threats to the British royal family, which she squeezed in between talking about Meghan. Terrible. All right, this one is all about me again. 1 out of 10. Meghan is supposed to be interviewing famous women to discuss various stereotypes about women, which she mistakenly refers to as archetypes, and what holds them back. She spends most of the time talking about herself rather than interviewing some genuinely successful women in their own right. And I love this little dig right here because they write rather than through their husband's position, like Meghan. In one of the interviews, Meghan talks for 10 minutes before, deigning to let her guest speak. Meghan talks in circles, often not making a lot of sense. Her words are seemingly chosen for how intelligent they make her sound instead of making any point. Basically, word salad. That's exactly how I felt too. It's like, do you remember the episode of Friends? Go with me here. When Joey decided to use a thesaurus to help write a letter for Chandler and Monica for the adoption? And he used it for every word to sound smarter, and it just became nonsense. I mean, hilarious, but nonsense. At least his was funny. Hers is just nonsense. She makes what could be interesting topics terribly boring with the focus on her. She will struggle to get guests if there's a future series. She was basically interviewing herself and using their name to gain listeners. Now that is an excellent point. I didn't even think about it. She's using their names to gain listeners. I think of it more as if she put somebody famous on her podcast, some sugar might accidentally believe that they're friends. So it's like, look at all these celebrity guests I can get, that sort of thing. Wow, that's such an interesting point, though. Just attach their name to it and talk over them. Huh, that's pretty good. All right, not recommended, 1 out of 10. The podcast sounded insincere and fake. The content deserves a word salad award. She'll buy one, don't worry. The topics were out of date or not relatable, and what her ambitions were seemed not to be addressed other than very happy with herself. I would not recommend this to anyone. Hopefully Spotify will use their resources on someone who actually has something to say or has achieved something. After the drama this person has put the royal family through the past 3 years, it's sad that she is not held accountable for her statements that have been broadcasted on a worldwide platform without being held accountable for her damaging narratives. Wow. Okay, so much to unpack here. They are absolutely right, but I don't expect anything else from them. They only do interviews with people who are kiss their asses, where they get the questions in advance and they can have these canned answers and, victim-y answers, and they don't get questions on the bullcrap that they peddle. So why would the podcast be any different? If anything, it's more about her because she's in charge of herself, I guess. Funny side note, I've talked about this before. I believe it was Megyn Kelly pointed out they hired a fact checker for this thing. And it's just funny to think she can't keep track of her own story. So she needed a fact checker to allegedly keep her story straight. I'm not sure. I find that very funny. Now we're going to be discussing The Bench. No, not that bench. You guys, so much to talk about with this book. So much cringe around this. Just the irony. Let's just talk about that for a second of especially her, but I'd say the both of them having anything to do with writing a book about a child's relationship, in this case with his father, when they're both estranged from their fathers. I mean, just let that sink in. Oh, God. But we're going to be talking the critical pans of this book because there's lots to talk about there. We're going to be talking about the PR stunts that revolve around this book. We're also going to talk about, did this book rip off another book? That's right, controversy there. And then we're going to go into some reviews on the book. So lots to talk about with this one. So buckle up and let's dive right on in. You guys, this book came out June 8th, 2021. It's a picture book for children written by Meghan. Okay, this is a very odd book, and we'll get into it. But I just can't glaze over the fact that she wrote a book about the importance of a child's father. Just let that sink in. Again, she has estranged herself from her father. She's completely cut him off. And she's basically, well, she and Harry have done the same with Charles, where Harry and Charles, I mean, it's not a secret. They barely have a relationship. And yet the fact that these two are going to somehow be involved in a book about fathers, I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. There's so many weird things. Do you remember this photo here? Have you ever looked closely at it? Look at her desk there. Do you know what we're looking at? Yeah, those are copies of her book, The Bench. So you're telling me that she just keeps, I don't know, piles of her own book. I mean, I don't even know why I'm surprised. Right there on her desk. You could try to tell me, oh, she's waiting to sign those or whatever. But no, because look at her computer. That's... It's just weird. It's just weird. This book really strikes me odd. Now, before you all run right out and buy a copy of this book, because I know you want to, you can actually hear it read aloud for you by Meghan herself. Okay, you guys, Brightly Storytime put out this video of her reading this book. But can you just, I mean, do you notice anything here? Oh, what's that? Her title has to be in there. See it big? Well, when she reads the book, she introduces herself as Duchess of Sussex. You guys, meant for kids, but still has to introduce herself with a title. And I went to take a look at some of the comments under this video because I was very curious to see what people were saying. But what's that? Comments are turned off. It's almost like it probably got negative comments. And we're going to get into some of the PR stunts around this book, don't you worry. But when I was pulling photographs and information for this video, I found this. And so I just want to go ahead and post it here. And it says, the only person who was happy to hear The Bench was the biggest kid in the room. And of course, we have Doofus sitting there listening to Meghan reading the book. Meghan's just off the screen to the left. You can't see her here, but we'll get into that because this is where they went to Harlem and she wore her very expensive Joker outfit. We'll talk about it. But let's get into some critical reviews of this book because there are many. So this comes out of the Telegraph and it says, The Bench Review. The Duchess of Sussex semi-literate vanity project leaves Harry holding the baby. The Duchess's first children's book is all bland parenting wisdom and no story. And it's hard to imagine any child enjoying it. So that's something that came up quite a bit when researching this, is people commented they really enjoyed the illustrations, but there's just not a lot of substance to this book. Meghan has said that the book came about because she wrote a poem for Harry on his first Father's Day after Archie was born. And so that's how the book came about. Here's one of the illustrations here. I believe they said it was watercolor illustrations throughout the book. But you guys, I'm laughing thinking about Meghan writing poetry for Harry. That strikes me funny because Meghan thinks everything Meghan does is the best ever, right? So of course she would write poetry for Harry. And it's funny because Harry can't understand anything. Do you think he's going to understand poetry? I don't think so. So the article goes on to say, poor Prince Harry, he's moved halfway across the earth, leaving behind everything he's ever known. And for what? A humble bench in a garden. According to the opening line of The Bench, his wife's debut, I love that they call her his wife, because you know that pissed her right off. His wife's debut book for children, published today, of course that was in June 2021, and addressed throughout this 34 pages to him. This is your bench. I just want to plug in the word bitch anywhere there's bench. It begins, accompanied by a watery illustration of a man with ginger hair sitting on a bench, looking adoringly into the eyes of a baby, where life will begin for you and our son. Leaving aside that unfortunate image, did the Sussex family life really begin on a bench? Okay, side note. We actually, Jay and I read this on Patreon and we went through exactly this. And that was, I think that's exactly what Jay was saying, is it doesn't even start out making sense. Life doesn't begin on a bench. It's not even trying on this book to make it make sense. But Then the article says poor Harry's role in this marriage is to sit on the bench holding the baby while Meghan gets on and conquers the world, one act of compassion at a time. So we've actually recently talked about that quite a bit. That's something that she's been quoted as saying is one act of compassion at a time. It's one of her favorite word salad things to say, and yet she can show no compassion in her own life. Again, the irony. The bench published worldwide and apparently based on a poem Meghan wrote for Harry on Father's Day is presented as a story for children. But it's nothing of the sort. Not least since it's not a story. Rather, it's a series of imperatives disguised as loving verse in which Meghan offers words of wisdom to Harry, represented throughout as a sort of racially inclusive, everyman paternal figure. And by implication to the rest of us on how to handle the tricky business of loving a child. You guys, this review is spot on. That was exactly, again, when we reviewed it, that was exactly what we found. It was just more word salad nonsense. And it was almost like Harry's too stupid to understand how to parent a child. So let me just write a book so he can figure this out. Each page consists of generic, quote, bonding moment between a father and a son on a different bench. Park bench, garden bench, random gray bench. Illustrated by Christian Robinson's amazingly benign watercolors and accompanied by a couple of tender lines of advice. So after a hard day tending the chickens, our father figure Harry will rest on his bench and see the growth of our boy. I would like to remind everybody that Harry called himself, I believe it was an absentee dad, thanked his kids for allowing him to be absent so much in one of it. I believe it was in Spare that he said that. And I don't think he's spending a lot of time on this bench. As the son learns to ride his bike, our hero Harry will watch on with pride. See, he's a passenger even in the story. He's not helping his kid ride a bike. He's just watching from the bench. And should the son playfully pop on a tutu, our father is helpfully told to be his supporter, because any male child who playfully dresses up in a tutu obviously needs support, right? Sometimes the demand of scansion and rhyme defeat Meghan, so she resorts to either reconfiguring words or mutilating them instead. Quote, he'll run and he'll fall and he'll take it in stride, reads one line. Huh? With daddy and son, where you'll never be lone, goes the book's immortal final line. Ooh, ouch. Meanwhile, Meghan herself pops up at the end, tending a vegetable patch. I just don't believe this bit. Surely the Sussexes have a gardener to pull the potatoes. And Natch holding a child, presumably young Lily. One wonders how any publisher could have thought fit to publish this grammar-defying set of badly rhyming odd homilies, let alone think any child anywhere would want to read it. But that's Planet Sussex for you, where even the business of raising a family is all about the brand. You guys, it really is that bad. I'm not even saying it because you know how I feel about these two. I'm telling you, it really is awful. And that's something that we kept asking when we read through the bench was, who is this for? It just doesn't even try to make sense. The illustrations might appeal to children, but the story does not. So there were more critical pans of the book, and I still think it's funny that they call it a semi-literate vanity project. The Times went on to call it was Alex Connell called it a self-help manual for needy parents, adding, the story is so lacking in action and jeopardy, you half wonder if the writing job was delegated to a piece of furniture. Well, let's take a look at how the book sold, shall we? Oop, not good either. All right. So this is directly from page 6, who reports Meghan Markle's children's book failed to crack the UK official top 50 chart during its debut week, according to a new report. The Bench, which was released on June 8th, sold 3,212 copies in its first week. How many of those are on Meghan's desk? Asking for a friend. The Daily Mail reported Wednesday, compared to number one book, The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, which sold 28,383 copies in the same time period. And then immediately after, The Sun was reporting that Meghan Markle's children's book is already headed for the bargain bins as sales flop, and it is panned by critics, with people posting pictures of it in the buy one, get one bin and the half price bin, etc. It's funny, didn't that happen to Spare as well? It went pretty quickly to the sale bin. Okay, let's talk controversy. What's this? Oh, this is a different book, The Boy on the Bench. What? All right, so the U.S. Sun reports Meghan Markle has been accused of stealing her children's book, The Bench, from British author's 2018 work. The Duchess of Sussex penned the book after originally writing a poem for Harry's first Father's Day from their son Archie. They go on to explain there are many coincidental similarities between the books. Interesting, right? From the way that you get a bird's eye view of the father and son together in both books. You have similar storylines in both books. Just a lot of similarities going on. And a lot of people had a lot to say about the similarities of the books. Now, I will say the author of The Boy on the Bench dismisses the claims, but a lot of people have noticed similarities, including this person who says, before you run out and waste money on the book by Harry's wife, read The Boy on the Bench. Then this person points out, this woman is incapable of an original thought. The Boy on the Bench is a story about the love between a father and a son and describes how the boy learns to socialize confidently. I hope that the original author considers legal action. Others point out that even the cover it's very similar. They call it nearly identical. And finally, this person says, I find it quite a coincidence that someone wrote a book called The Boy on the Bench in 2018 about a young boy and his father. Surely the Duchess wouldn't have accidentally lifted someone else's work, tweaked it, and served it up to be published. That would just never happen, right? Never. I mean, it's not like she's been accused of taking other people's speeches and making them her own, has she? Interesting. Anyway, so many funny PR things have surrounded this book too, and we'll talk about that. When I was looking into, again, photos of this book, I found so many notes like this where she was sending out copies to people, you guys, with this calligraphy handwriting that's as contrived as every aspect of her being. Okay, so one of the most famous PR stunts from this whole thing, and I have a whole video, you have to go check it out, about her disastrous trip to New York. Oh my God, you guys, so many crazy things happened, but they went to this school in Harlem. She wore this. Yep, this picture still cracks me up. Thousands and thousands, and again, go check out the other video because I go into detail of everything worn, but thousands of dollars of outfits and jewels, and I mean, it's obscene what all she wore, especially this day, to this school in Harlem where it's reported that over 90% of the kids are on some sort of assistance program. They had to have like lunch assistance and stuff because it's below the poverty line. And so again, totally tone deaf, shows up just doing this. Now, I have heard reports. I could not officially find anything, so this is all speculation, all alleged. She went to this school and read this book to the kids. So I knew about that. I talk about that in the video. That's not alleged. The part that's alleged is I had many of you guys tell me, and I had read this before, I just couldn't find anything official on it, that then these people were sent charges of a few dollars per, basically they charged them for the book. They were given a copy of the book, but then basically sent a bill for it. Again, I couldn't officially find anything on this, so if you have anything, please let me know. It's alleged at this point, but if that's even kind of true, that is so disgusting. I would hope even they wouldn't stoop that low, but you never know. Again, just look at the tone-deaf outfit. That tells me everything I need to know right there. But remember, this tour was being filmed for Netflix, and so, of course, they had these PR situations set up, right, where she could go read her book to a bunch of school children. And again, you have Harry there sitting in the audience, the biggest child of them all, listening because he's afraid Mother, aka Meghan, won't give him a treat if he doesn't sit attentively. All right, let's get into some readers' reviews of The Bench. They couldn't be as bad as the critical reviews, could they? Au contraire, mon frere, they can. Joey from Friends said that, and I always think that's really funny. Okay, let's look at some of these reviews pulled from Amazon. All right. Bought this book for my nephew. Disappointed. Wow, is all I can say about this book, and not in a good way. I get it's supposed to be a poem/book, but what's the story? That was exactly what we said when we read this book too. It skips around to multiple people with no real significance to the storyline. What storyline? Then it shows what I assume is supposed to be her husband and her son in the back of the book, him coming back from a tour in the military. Sorry, but when did he leave her or their son and join the military? The illustrations in the book are also hard to look at. Listen, I'll be the first to give any book a chance, and I'm always looking for new kids' book, but there isn't a single thing written in this book to hold a child's attention, much less the parents. Sorry, but I only wish I had more info prior to placing my order, or else I would have saved my money. Okay, the next one says, not exactly a children's book. It's a tribute to fatherhood with an inclusive approach. However, definitely not a children's book and not worth $18.99. Very short, mostly pictures book of a not-so-stellar poem. Got it for my 5-year-old and his father for Father's Day, but it's not a nice enough gift. Maybe it will pique someone else's interest at the local Goodwill store. The title of this review is a book published because of the author's status instead of merit. Given 1 star because you cannot give it a 0. I wanted to like this book. The thought that someone had written something to bring awareness to a father's bond with his child was uplifting. However, after one reads the title and turns to the first page, you can clearly see that this was published as a PR piece for Meghan and nothing more. Her writing is horribly commissioned. Her use of rhyme is laughable. The content is less a story to read to a child and more of 34 pages of quick sound bites that express her ideas of what a father should be. I truly wanted to be inspired by this, and I'm left wholly disappointed. It's just another attempt to gain recognition for the Sussex's brand and their U.S. empire they're building while stating they're doing it all for the love of service. Disappointing is not a strong enough word to use for this book. And finally, we have, I bought this book because of the Duchess. I've learned my lesson. A 5th grader doing an English writing project would have done better. She needs to stop using her name Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, for profit. I won't even read it to my grandson, for whom I purchased it for. He won't sit long enough to get through it. Don't waste your money. Well, guys, there you have it. A book about fathers by somebody who doesn't talk to her father, who lives with somebody she helped estrange from his father. So just let that sink in, because I will never not find that funny. Spare. And before you're like, oh my God, Jen, didn't we cover the whole thing? Yes, we did. Go back and watch those videos if you haven't seen them. A lot there. Anyway, I'm just like having PTSD tremors even talking about it. But you guys, I had such a good response to the So Much Cringe video I did on Meghan and the podcast, Archetypes, Awfulness, and the hilarious reviews I found about awful podcasts. So I thought, you know what? let's circle back around, revisit Spare, and take a look at some of those reviews. I thought we could read them together and discuss amongst ourselves. Because the rumor is there's more books to come. I believe that was the deal. It was a multi-book deal. So we might see more out of this Ginger Whinger. So he's threatened more. He said he didn't even reveal everything in this book. I don't understand how he could write more. He must have more stories about his mom's face cream or something. Oh, God. More stories of how he was wronged and the things that he suffered through as growing up so privileged. Anyway, just ridiculousness. I've been through it. Again, if you want the details on my thoughts on the book, I put out a whole series of that, so take a look at that. But I thought, let's start with the critical reviews and kind of refresh on some of the problems of the book, and then we'll read just some average people's reviews on the book itself. So the main problems that were pointed out in the book they point out it was hard to follow, had so many inconsistencies, inaccuracies, that's a nice way of saying lies, offers privileged military information, and is often tasteless. I would say it goes beyond tasteless. Again, I know you saw the other videos where I go into it, and even if you haven't, you've seen the videos talking about, he talks so much about his Todger. There was a word count done, and it's just crazy how many times he talks about his Todger and it's just everything. The frostbite of the Todger, the cream on the Todger, how his Todger was burning. He talked about Williams' Todger, just so much, so disgusting. He's gross. There's just nothing in his head, so he filled it with this drivel. Anyway, so those were some of they even called it chaotic. You can see it's messy and chaotic. So that was some of the critical reviews received. The main things pointed out is that there's so many factual errors that, again, it's their go-to move, right? Things that can easily be verified. People continue to find more and more of those. When you Google Spare reviews, you see, there's just a lot of people had a lot of stuff to say about this, including his dangerous lies, opening up about the military stuff, and again, sharing private details after screaming for privacy of conversations that he allegedly had with Charles and William. I don't believe a word in the book, so I even have trouble believing he had these actual conversations. But if it is true, he's sharing private information, even detailing like texts sent from supposedly or allegedly between Catherine and Meghan. And I wanted to show you this one. It's The Guardian called it Magical Thinking in Montecito. And the BBC says it's the weirdest book ever written by a royal. So let's take a look at some of these reviews. The first couple will be from Goodreads, and the last couple are pulled from Amazon. Okay. So Laura says, I can't abide people who think they're blameless. The whole book is all poor Harry. He doesn't blame himself for anything. He's been spoiled as a child and spoiled as an adult, moaning when Charles cut him off and wondering how they would manage, yet he still lives in a big house. I dare to say a mansion. Oh, poor, poor Harry. Steel Whisper writes, no way, no how. Why should anyone in their right mind fork over money to a milquetoast wimp who flipped his entire family the finger, including a dying grandfather and his ailing grandmother? Exactly, Steel Whisper. I'm glad you brought that up, and I like your username. The way he treated the way they both treated them is just indefensible, and it's absolutely disgusting, and they're terrible people. Okay, you guys, this review made me laugh. It says, I purchased this book a few minutes after it was published. I wanted to finish reading it and write a review on the publishing day itself, but it took me around 2 months to finish reading it. After reading the initial pages, I understood what I had to expect from this book. The writing, accusations, and hypocrisy were at an extreme level that it became challenging for me to read it. That 2 months thing really made me laugh. I love it. I totally relate. If I hadn't been covering it for this channel, I couldn't have finished it. Okay, Just a Girl Fighting Censorship writes, file this one under, I'd rather squeeze lemon juice into my eyes for a couple hours. Yeah, if given the choice to have to read the damn thing again or the lemon juice, I'm picking the lemon juice. Okay, this one gave me a laugh. This is from Amy. It says, this book did the impossible. It made me like King Charles. Okay, Reagan Baker writes, these, quote, revealing texts that left Meghan sobbing on the floor. She doesn't know where else to cry, right? It's always got to be the floor. Are the tamest, dumbest lines ever to be published in all of history. I should publish my family stories. I would make way more millions of dollars. Exactly. It's just another example of them presenting one side of the story, and we're just supposed to buy it without questioning it. And if we do, we're all the ist words they like to throw around. It's nonsense. Okay, then Mulberry writes, cringeworthy. It's obvious that the psychedelics did him no good at all. Okay, and then we have Debbie, who writes, I didn't expect this to be as bad as it is. He appears to be less intelligent, less self-aware, and possibly more severely damaged than I originally thought. Plus, he contradicts several times the narrative that they've been pushing for so long. Poor Harry. They're going to be waiting a long, long time before they get any apologies. Possibly when hell freezes over. I didn't purchase this book because I won't contribute in any way to these two. We're all borrowing from a friend of a friend of a friend. Okay, then moving on to Amazon, we got Tiffany here writing, oh please, this is a long, boring, redundant, greatly untrue wine fest. He complains about the press and his family being mean to him and his wife. Yes, that sucks. Who doesn't have family that treat them poorly? Was he abused, left hungry and alone, uneducated and penniless? Was his father distant? Yes. Perhaps he should write a book about it and conveniently leave out that his father is also King of England. I like the title of this one so much. Spare me this spare. What a snooze fest, or wine fest rather. There's nothing new here at all. The entire book is Harry just moaning about how unfair everyone and everything is to him and later to Meghan. He speaks of his family with such venom and disdain, you'd think he was talking about strangers. The only one he doesn't eviscerate is the Queen, but still he intimates her lack of help to him. There's no surprise message here, just him complaining. The writing is plain dreadful, loaded with incomplete thoughts and snippets of stories that have no real cohesiveness. That was exactly my point too. No cohesiveness, and then he would interrupt himself. I do that too, but not while I'm writing, to contradict himself. He'd be like, it could have been Thursday. No, wait, it might have been Tuesday, that sort of thing. Ugh, that's my 2 cents on that. It was so crazy. I'm not trying to bash the ghostwriter here either. I don't know the ghostwriter. I don't care. I'm just saying I feel like Meghan and Harry had such heavy hands in this that the ghostwriter probably had to throw up his hands and be like, all right, it's your book, man. Whatever. Okay, this one's called Saved by the Ghostwriter. Had it not been for talented, and then he goes into the person's name, that this book would have been not in a recycle bin, but in a garbage bin. What a one-sided book of complaints and jealousy. When I first heard that this book was worse than a tabloid, I bought it only to check this for myself, as I was not sure that all the reviews were right. To think someone who had so much privilege and royal upbringing to trash the family that gave him all of this just because he was not firstborn. Jealousy has no cure. And Meghan only festered it for financial gains. I like that sentence very much. There were parts of the book that I felt like was Meghan's words and voice and not Harry's. Ding, ding, ding. Once again, it's only the ghostwriter and the YouTube reviewers who need I like that. I didn't even know she was going to say that. A compliment. And I should have listened to YouTube first rather than go through 400 odd pages of the constant whining. Check Tom Bower's book for facts rather than this one for fiction. This should have been classified as fiction, not a memoir. Guys, I'm going to leave this one here. There's about 1 billion more reviews just like that talking about how much it is just a wine fest and so full of himself and out of touch. And, well, if you want to hear more reviews like that, be sure to go back and listen to me actually reading through Spare. Whew, that was rough. That brings back like a dark period in my life. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I was thinking I would dive into the Netflix show and maybe that Live to Lead thing that they were involved in. But if you have other things you want me to pull reviews on, please leave it in the comments. I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff. Talking Harry and Meghan. And don't you worry, we are not traipsing all the way back through this thing. Once is more than enough. And in case you missed it, I actually recapped the whole series. It was dreadful. I want that time back. I was actually mad while recapping it, but that's neither here nor there. The reason I'm talking about it today is because I've been working on a series, So Much Cringe, you've seen it, where I go back over and talk about reviews given to different projects by, well, these two yahoos. So I thought, let's revisit Harry and Meghan. And I thought we could look at some behind the scenes stuff and talk about critical reception and then go into my personal favorite part, user reviews on it. Don't worry, they won't disappoint. They're hilarious. So let's jump right on in. So again, I'm not really going to go into the details of this. I'm laughing because it says documentary, but it's more of a mockumentary because I've done that. And again, go back and watch those videos if you want to see it. But just a reminder, the original release on these things was December 8th and December 15th. They did 2 volumes, 3 one-hour episodes each. I want that time back. It was so bad. It was so bad. And it's not just because I can't stand these two. I actually thought maybe we'll get some entertaining stuff. I knew they'd be full of shit, but I thought maybe at least I'll be entertained some, or I'll see some photos I haven't seen, or hear a story I haven't heard, but that's a big fat nope. It is a 6 whatever hour wine fest. Oh, just awful. Anyway, we'll get into it. So the deal for this thing is said to have been signed around September 2020. And there were different reports on how much the deal was for, but it sounded like it was a big fat check for all involved. So you can get different figures from anywhere on the web, depending on who you look at. So it's going to be a ballpark, but I'm getting my numbers from Forbes. They are reporting that they signed, it was about $100 million contract to produce, it was signed in September 2020 to produce documentaries, docuseries, feature films, scripted shows, and children's programming. So I've heard all the same things you have. I've heard that they're done with Netflix. I've also heard that they will no longer be in front of the camera at Netflix. They will be producers. I'm not in Hollywood. I don't know how it works. From what I've heard on that is if money's involved, you slap your name on things and call yourself a producer. I don't know. It's just what I suspect. But again, this is just me speculating. But no official word on any projects coming out with Netflix. And I keep hearing rumblings that something else is coming out, but then I can't find any official evidence of it. So I guess we'll just wait and see. For my sanity, I hope not. But, if they put something else out, we'll make fun of it. We're going to get into the, critical reception as well as just user reactions because it's pretty hilarious. Just some reminders, of course, that obnoxious curtsy. I did a whole video on that, so definitely go watch that. Happened in this. There was some discussion because things were weird, meaning originally people thought this was their house, but then later it was reported no, they sat down. It was another mansion in Montecito. I believe it's either now on the market or just sold, something like that. So, yeah, do you expect the truth out of these two? I certainly don't. The thing that strikes me is just so much crying and whining. It was unbearable to watch. It was a time suck like I've never had before, and I was just mad when I was taking notes because like you see in front of you, this is mostly what you got. Meghan crying for the camera. That girl is not able to stand up and cry. She just sits on the floor and cries throughout. She's in I'm serious, the same documentary. You see it here. She's sitting on the floor crying. She's sitting in her closet crying. She's sitting on a chair crying. She's sitting on a chair by an expensive blanket crying. That's all she can do in this damn thing. Is a lot. And then Harry's just mad and confused as per usual. And then you just stop and think, why is she crying again? What is going on? Is it like, I feel like you've heard of cults, right? Where they make you so tired you just can't think straight. I felt like that's what was happening with this documentary. like 6 hours of this bullshit, and I'm supposed to just be like, oh, okay, yeah, you had it really hard. You know what? I give up the will to live. So yes, you suffered. But then she'd switch into this smirky, whatever, like smug face. Smug. Let me try again. Smug. And it's just like, oh my God, you're no victim. What am I watching? What's happening? I want my life back. Now she's crying in a car. I forgot about that too. Make it stop. Okay, so when you start looking at critical reviews, I mean, they're all pretty much the same. It tends to be rated around a 5 out of 10. I think they're being generous. I think they don't want to rock the boat too much is my guess. But NPR here saying it's a thumb down. You know what's funny? Even, what's that? Variety, one of the ones that worked with Meghan in a stupid-ass photo shoot. Remember where she wore the comforter dress? They even said it just rehashes the same drama. They called it a rerun, basically. Daily Mail calls it, an exhausting endurance test. Yeah, I would agree with that. And then it calls it cringeworthy as well. Yeah, also agree. Guys, have we mentioned the crying? There's so much crying. Doesn't that sway you? No, it doesn't. It actually makes it way worse. Okay, so I came over to IMDb, and I thought we could take a look at some of the reviews from the users. It's listed at 5.1 out of 10 as its rating, and let's read some of these reviews. First, I thought it'd be funny to take a look rapid fire at some of the titles of the reviews that people have left, and then we'll get into the reviews themselves. Here we go. I love this one. The heir, the spare, and the struggling actress over there. Self-serving drivel masquerading as a righteous crusade. Horrible demonstration of privileged people who can't get enough. 1 out of 10. Under love story cover, goal is to damage William and Catherine. 1 out of 10. Flimsy relationship with the truth. 1 out of 10. Huge disappointment. These are all 1 out of 10s. I don't have to say it every time. Huge disappointment. Kardashians Royale. Recollections certainly can vary. Yes, they can. Check out my merch. Recollections may vary. I like this title. It just says, oh dear, with a million exclamation points. Would you like some cheese with that wine? Uninspiring and tone deaf. Super boring snooze fest. A boring, unoriginal fantasy. Is it a mockumentary? Dumpster fire. That's what I'm going to call my memoir, by the way. Dumpster fire. All right, let's get into some reviews, shall we? This one is, they just can't help themselves, can they? Drawn like a moth to a car crash. Okay. I just knew my poor throat would suffer if I watched this self-indulgent twaddle. And sure enough, mere minutes in, and I'm shouting at the screen. I could have written this. That sounds like something I would say. That's hilarious. You guys, this one's called an Actress and a Broken Boy. Having watched the first 4 episodes, I'm left even more baffled than I already was. A bit like watching someone's holiday photos for 3 hours. Spoiler alert, this doesn't contain anything other than 1,000 photos of 2 people's personal lives and a whole lot of inane twaddle. Some of it is nicely shot, but it feels very cheap and way too personal. In some ways, it's a bit like watching the visual representation of what someone might discuss with their therapist. It's possible that the next batch of episodes might be more substantive. I can spoil alert that and say they're not. But I'm not sure I can bring myself to watch them. It kind of feels like Harry and Meghan have one story and they just keep repackaging it. Ding, ding, ding. If Netflix truly spent the amount stated in press on this, then they've been taken for a ride. No wonder they were so desperate to use the royal trip to the U.S. for free advertising and release it this side of the holiday season. Absolute garbage. This is very different from the rest of Netflix documentaries. The other side is not given a voice. And the couple keeps failing to build up a solid case in regards to the, quote, racism. They keep mentioning words like agenda without explaining what those agendas are. How did Meghan experience racism is not explained. Who was racist toward her is not mentioned. How was the press, I can't keep saying that word, toward her when there weren't single article talking about her skin color? They just keep saying they moved to the U.S. because they want privacy, yet go on to share intimate details, images of their kids, video of their daily walking around the beach, when the rest of us were forced to quarantine. Exactly. Thank you. This is so well written and so well said. That's exactly what I thought too. Nothing given to the other side. It's only their story, and they throw out these claims hoping that people will just be pissed, but not wanting them to do any digging whatsoever, because if you do, you'll find that there's no backing up these claims. There's no more information, and usually there's some sort of lie attached to it. Okay, this one's called We Are Victims and Have No Accountability. I was prepared to give the benefit of the doubt and wanted to see what their story would entail. Basically, they just blamed everyone for what they see as a horrible time living in a small home in palace grounds. Meghan being compared to Diana. What? No mention of what they might have done to warrant any reaction the royals might have had towards them, i.e., that they were horrible to staff. Name dropping and being there when texts come through from William and Beyonce, all in 3-minute segment, just one-sided whinge fest. Laugh out loud moment was when someone mentioned they were social justice icons. Really? Huge disrespect shown to the Queen with the exaggerated curtsy. Don't bother watching. Okay, let's leave off on a funny one. Pure comedy gold. Easily the best satirical mockumentary I've watched in decades. The bad acting, the fake drama, the out-of-context footage, the vomit-inducing pet names, step-aside Spinal Tap with these two, while these two curtsy their way into our hearts. Netflix deserves a big thank you for making this original comedy possible on such a shoestring budget. Only $100 million to put this masterpiece together? We all needed that laugh to help us forget the real hardships and challenges the world has been dealing with since 2020. H&M, thank you so much for letting us have a laugh at your expense. Pure comedy gold. Well, guys, we're going to leave that there. That was a lot of fun to revisit, and also it brought back PTSD. Ooh, cringe, you guys. Let's take a look back at that Oprah interview. Now, I have done videos about this before. We've been there in depth about it. So I'm not going to go over every single lie. What I thought was we'd kind of give an overview of the interview. I'll give you some facts, maybe some behind the scenes stuff. We'll get into user reviews of this interview. And I didn't even know that was a thing. I stumbled upon it on IMDb, and spoiler alert, people hated it, and it's very funny to read the reviews. So I thought, let's take a look at that. Since we've been doing these deep dives and these so much cringe videos, I thought, well, we gotta go for the cringiest, right? Gotta go for this Oprah interview. So we'll jump right on in. There's so many quotes like this one, and it makes you wonder whether anything they said about racism in the royal family or the fact that Meghan couldn't get help with her mental health were true. Yeah, none of it was true. Actually, I can answer that. But anyway, so many quotes like this coming out. So many things have been uncovered since the interview. So I thought, you know what? Let's just take a look at the cringe and talk about it. All right. Since Fraud of Harold and Fraud took main stage in this interview, meaning she was on the screen the most, let's talk her. So when you look at this, what stands out? So many things. The birdshit dress, the stupid hair, the makeup. I'm like, what is up with her eyeliner? Well, I'll tell you what's up with her eyeliner. This is what's up with her eyeliner. How Princess Diana used makeup as a weapon. Interesting. I would say that Meghan's doing the same thing. So if you recall, when Diana did the famous interview, now infamous interview with Martin Bashir, she did the dark eyeliner, and look at that. Meghan decided to do the same thing. It's almost like she did it on purpose. The other thing that she accidentally did, I'm using huge stupid air quotes on that one, accidentally did was, hey, dress and act exactly like Wallace Simpson. Total coincidence, right? Not at all pre-planned down to the birdshit dress? Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Look at the hair, look at all of it. Yep, yeah. I'm sure her blind followers will say, no, I don't see the likeness, but hello. Nothing she does is on accident. It's all pre-planned, premeditated, however contrived, I think is the word. Even down to the fake tears that weren't actually there, but if she rubs her hand close enough to her eye, she won't smear her makeup, but it'll appear to some like she actually has tears, thus believing some of the stuff she's saying. I don't know how she can. Which brings me to this point. So many things have come out. I think they came out within hours of the interview, but in the days to follow, the weeks to follow, and now the years to follow, so many things have come out and been proven untrue, been proven exaggerated, and some are just listed in the unprovable file. This article comes out of Express and says Meghan and Harry's interview with Oprah included over 30 lies, and then goes on to cite Tom Bower's book. We've been through Tom Bower's book. Definitely go back and listen to those recaps if you haven't already, because those are some of my favorite that I've done. He really goes deep into this and, well, again, all the lies. So just a reminder, this premiered March 7th, 2021. It was filmed in Santa Barbara, California, and it came the year after Harry and Meghan announced their decision to step down, you know, the whole thing, which happened in January 2020. The interview talked about all their stuff, the courtship, the wedding, their children, take that how you will, mental health struggles, and then a whole bunch of fiction mostly. So the funny thing is, when you start looking up Harry and Meghan Oprah lies, look into Wikipedia. Because, yeah, it goes over the numbers like, you know, it was released this day, all the stuff I've been telling you, right? Where it was filmed, that sort of thing. But there is a section under there called Veracity and Context of Claims. And then there's point after point after point of things that have since come out to be not true. And I've just not quite seen... I haven't quite seen an article like this where it's like they have to seriously backtrack on a lot of stuff. And the funny thing is, you know, people like Wikipedia are pointing it out. You know, again, if you just Google it, there's a million articles out there. I have YouTube videos on it. A lot of people have YouTube videos about proven lies from the Oprah interview, that sort of thing. The only ones that are in denial about it are Harry, Meghan, and Oprah. And the Sugars, of course, but that's not saying much. They're in denial about a lot of stuff. Now, let's get to the fun stuff. Let's look at people's unconscious bias and take a look at the reviews that people have left about this thing. So all I did was jump on Google. I honestly didn't even think I'd be able to find reviews. I thought it'd just be articles. But I didn't realize IMDb actually has the reviews up. So we can take a look at this. And this is what you see when you first pull it up. So it looks like it's got 2.4 stars with 182 ratings. I'm sure it pisses her right off, but I find it hilarious. Now let's take a look at some of these ratings that people have left. Clown Prince and Princess of La La Land, 1 out of 10 stars. It says, what a load of tosh. Each sentence uttered, I love Tosh, by the way. Each sentence uttered is drenched in hypocrisy and self-pity. A pathetic marketing exercise in how to sell any ounce of decency you once might have had to an audience that doesn't give a rodent's bottom who you are. Disowned by family, disconnected from reality, sad. All right, this one's called One-Sided Interview. They wanted a private life. So far, a podcast deal, Netflix deal, this interview. Oh, this was written before Spare. Just you wait, my friend, much more coming. The program itself has a major flaw. I'd say it has lots of major flaws, and shows two people airing a family matter, lots of family matters, on TV that wanted privacy, which immediately makes you question the motive behind this interview. Is it true? The age-old saying, 2 sides to every story applies. Here's the deal, though. They'll only take softball interviews like this. It's not even an interview. It's a list of pre-planned out questions agreed upon by both sides, and nothing is fact-checked, nothing is questioned, nothing is challenged. And that's how they like it. Because look what happens when they are challenged. Look at Harry on the stand and how horribly he did. And how we got to see him try to think on his feet. Yes, that's scary, I know. That's how that goes, right? Look how that turned out. So they can't handle it. So they have to do these, again, softball celebrity friend interviews. I wouldn't even call it an interview. These, I don't know, chats. This one's called Boo Hoo. Oh, please, take your millions of dollars and stop crying about what you went through. Instead, take a walk down the streets of LA and see how real people are suffering. And Oprah, you've really shown your true colors here. I thought you were a fair and honest journalist. I guess I was wrong. I'd go ahead and chuck Gayle in that category too. And the reason I say that is because obviously they're BFFs, but we've seen how Gayle stands up for these two blindly and how they scratch each other's backs, right? They gave CBS like first whatever announcement about Archie. They kind of cut the palace out of that whole deal. It was very weird. Go back again and listen. I talk about it in depth with the Revenge book. But yeah, and then recently, even with the car chase, Gayle is like, oh, I can't believe people don't believe them. I'm like, they have a track record for lying about everything. Are we really surprised that nobody believes them? Okay, this review is called It's As If She Bought a Ticket to See the Movie Titanic and then was shocked to see that it sank. The hour-and-a-half interview kept my interest, not because the interview was spellbinding, but because it was a downhill trip from the start. Meghan made a fool of herself when she willfully stated that she knew next to nothing about Prince Harry, the man she married. He's a member of one of the most talked about families in the entire world. What bubble has she been living in? It's as if she bought a ticket to see the movie Titanic and was shocked to see that it sank. Who doesn't know this? I think about this a lot too. It's the whole, what's the word? She likes to be contrarian. Like, I met my future in-laws, the king and queen to be of England, in ripped jeans and barefoot. And yet we'll go to a homeless shelter dripping in jewels and diamonds and the fanciest of fancy bullshit ever, right? Like every label ever. Okay. So that doesn't make any sense. Then she comes out with this, it was like international studies, international relations, who cares? And yet brags, I didn't know anything about my husband. I didn't know anything about his family. You guys, one of the funniest things to come out of this, one of you guys in the comments said, I believe that she didn't Google Harry. It's because she was busy Googling William. And that's how she learned about Harry. Or, that's how she knew everything about the family. She probably wasn't Googling Harry. You're brilliant. I love that so much. You're spot on. Go ahead and add that she was Googling Diana as well. But, All right. I love the title of this one. 2 millionaires chat with a billionaire. About the hardships of becoming a princess and the difficulties of growing up as a prince. Exaggerations, delusions, and poor acting abound. It's clear that the issue at the center of Meghan's problems is Meghan herself. There's a great line from Justified, the TV series, that goes something like this. If you run into an asshole in the morning, you simply ran into an asshole. But if you run into assholes all day, you're the asshole. I have not heard that expression. I love it so much. That's perfect. I will now start using that. That's great. This one's simply called Staged, and it says, this interview seems staged and practiced ahead of time. Yeah, definitely so. It seemed exaggerated and full of untruths. That's everything they say. It was as if Harry and Meghan had an axe to grind against the royal family just because they didn't get their way. Ding, ding, ding. Oprah did a terrible job as the interviewer. She didn't challenge their ludicrous claims or seek clarifications to support their accusations. Exactly. They actually contradict themselves in the interview several times. We all noticed it. Oprah didn't catch that. I don't think she cares. She just wanted that paycheck. It was very one-sided and unfair attack on the royal family. It was full of lies, contradictions, and hypocrisy. Harry and Meghan are really good at playing the victim and playing the race card. This interview was a bad joke. I can't believe I wasted my time watching this garbage. Exactly this. This was my takeaway as well. What garbage? This one's called So Many Lies. So many lies told that are easily fact-checked. Exactly. I have been saying the same thing. They lie about the most ridiculous things. They just lie to lie. They can't keep straight their lies. And then they lie to lie to lie, if that makes any sense. If they don't know how to tell the truth. But if they just tell the truth, you can remember the truth. It's the lies that get you in trouble, right? Markle is a phony liar. Harry should be ashamed of himself for sitting there knowing the truth and allowing her to spew lies about his family. Her sister didn't change back to her maiden name after Meghan and Harry's relationship went public. She had been using it for years prior already. How about in her book, Finding Freedom, who her friend and mouthpiece Omid Scobie wrote, saying that no one cried during the dress fittings. The original rumor always was that Meghan made Catherine cry, or them saying they had been cut off by Chuck when in fact, King Charles, when in fact he was, until recently at least, still funding them. Why doesn't Meghan talk to any of her relatives or family on either side? Why was Oprah, who was a complete stranger, invited to the wedding and sat in the area in the church reserved for special family members? Why does Meghan claim she paid for schooling herself and then the message cuts off? But you get the idea. Yeah, all excellent questions. The one thing I'll say is Oprah wasn't a complete stranger when she went to the wedding. It's talked about in Tom Bower's book that she had reached out to Meghan for an interview right before the wedding, and Meghan allegedly told her, basically, now's not the time, but I'll talk to you soon. So she knew. She was planning. We all know that. 2 multimillionaires complain to a billionaire. A waste of 2+ hours watching this complaint session by Harry and his wife. Very disappointed in Oprah, who made her fortune off the back of middle-aged women, used her platform to promote victimhood in order for Harry's wife to trash her husband's family by using the race card with no receipts. This so-called interview showcases Harry and his wife, along with Oprah's vindictiveness toward the royal family and the people of the UK and the Commonwealth. Fast forward, this smear campaign has made the royal family more popular, and these 3 popularity decrease. Cry me a river. Want to hear misinterpreted, dramatized, fifth-hand information? Then tune in for this latest cry fest. The world's smallest violin is playing for the media attention, grabbing media criticizers. Isn't that a contradiction? Yes, exactly what we've all been saying. Their whole existence, their whole spiel is a contradiction. Case in point, see the near catastrophic car chase, right? Where I don't even have to go. Oh my God, it makes my head spin. All of it, the hypocrisy is just off the charts, right? And finally, we have worse than a movie, 1 out of 10. I couldn't rate this any lower. She comes across in this piece of fiction as a lying, manipulative money grabber, while the other actor, let's call him PH, let's just call him H, seems to be cat whipped, they're going there, blank whipped, deranged individual. The person playing Oprah, in my opinion, seemed more content looking at the cake stand, which was strategically placed near the other 2 actors, probably. However, it's still a better movie than Twilight. What? I disagree. I perhaps like the movie Twilight. Okay, it was a shitty movie too, but it was better than this. I'd rather watch Twilight on repeat than watch Oprah interview again. You guys, I appreciate you so much. This was a lot of fun. So much cringe to be had here. If there's something else you want to deep dive the cringe on, please let me know in the comments. You guys, I can't thank you enough for sticking with me on this one. It was a long one. If you watched all of this, please let me know in the comments, and I will be forever grateful. You beautiful drunk goose, you. Honk honk. Seriously, though, I appreciate it. These are always some of my favorites to do. It is amazing seeing them side by side, all the cringe moments. How many times these two get it wrong at every single turn. Every time. Keeps me riveted. You guys, I can't thank you enough for this. I really appreciate you. Thank you for all the thumbs up, the comments. You can always honk at me in the comments. I love it. I hope you have the best day, and I can't wait to bring you more like this soon. Take care. Bye-bye.